Hello, everybody. It is that time of the week or the fortnight, whatever it is that you've all been waiting for. You've all been sitting there clicking refresh on your computers, waiting for another episode of Dan and Frankie Go to Hollywood. That amazing, wonderful place where two amazingly best friends, I'm using the word amazing a lot right now, but it's amazing. Yeah, get to discuss movies, which we're big fans of. You're probably a big fan of, and here we are. So for those of you who have no idea what is going on, like myself, my name is Dan.
And I'm Poppy.
Oh
That was one
wow.
of the best things of recent times.
You've been planning that all. You just couldn't wait, could you?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow. That has just made my day. I want to
I
just,
even wrote it down so I'd remember to do it.
oh, man, my heart is glowing right now. I just want to stop the podcast, release that into the world and say, yep, that is all you're getting because nothing we do here on in is going to top that joke. Um, I don't know if, well, there's going to be a few people who are like, what? Brief rundown. So, Frankie and I are massive fans of Poppy, who is a singer who dabbles in all sorts of genres of music, sort of more metal nowadays. And so at the recent Grammy Awards, there was some reporter went to, well, they interviewed Courtney LaPlante from Spirit Box, but they mistook her for Poppy, and they were kind of like, oh, and here we are with Poppy or whatever. And so Courtney's just sort of looking like, what? Um, and the reporter is like, oh, you're rock royalty now and stuff. And Courtney's like, no, and she's like, you are. And it's like, wow. And so Courtney went on, carried this whole interview as Poppy, which whether if you're not even a fan of either of those two people, you've got to respect the fact that somebody was mistaken on a red carpet but kept the charade going that they were. And so yeah, she was like, when the person was like, "You are," she's like, "Yeah, I am Poppy." So yeah, that was one of the highlights
and
of
and the
the
that's
week.
like a long-ranging joke. So if anyone
Oh yeah.
knows Nick Nocturnal, who's a big
Mm,
metal YouTuber, Twitch guy, he posted a video I just watched this morning because Spirit Box just released a new single, and
mm.
he was watching the video, and he and everyone in chat is just like, it's a new Poppy.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
It's
there's
stuck
been
now.
so many things I've seen, like Facebook articles where, it's like a picture of Courtney from Spirit Box, but in the comments below, it's just like, no, that's Poppy. And like to the point where
Yeah.
people are getting a little bit tired of the joke. But Poppy herself even cashed in on the mania by releasing a shirt in her merch store that is just a black t-shirt with like a little name sticker on it that says hello, and then in sort of handwriting it says I am Poppy, which I just think is brilliant. And if it
It's
was a
like
bit,
the best thing to joke about because that's like Poppy's thing for years.
yeah,
Is
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I'm Poppy.
I'm
That's
Poppy,
like
yeah,
catchphrase kind of thing. So
yeah,
it's just
exactly. I
really
mean,
funny. It's extra funny that this happened.
yeah, like the girl released a video years ago, which was just 10 minutes of her saying I'm Poppy, like from different angles and stuff. It was just like, yeah. I even actually did a video of my own where I edited scenes of Groot saying I am Groot and then her saying I'm Poppy, and like the two of them sort of having a back and forth or whatever, which was a lot of fun to do and totally useless. I mean, it was arguably the most useless thing I've ever wasted time on, but it was fun and a lot of
Hmm.
people have watched it. So, that's all that matters. Um, yeah, but
Other music news.
yes.
We actually saw each other in person for the first time in ages to
We
go
did.
see Soft Play, which was very fun.
Oh yeah, that was such an amazing night. Soft Play, a two-piece, as they describe themselves, boy band from the UK. But no, they are to me the most genuine punk band that is out there today. I mean, there's so many bands that I feel are mislabeled punk, especially back in like the sort of 90s, early 2000s, like, you had Offspring, Green Day, all these bands that were Blink 182, they're all
Yeah, the
labeled as
pop punk
punk, but
thing,
it's like
the
these
pop
guys
punk.
really know how to play, they actually sound really good. That's not really what punk sounds like. Whereas, yeah, soft player just two-piece, like one guy on drums and vocals, one guy on either a bass or a guitar or whatever he wants to play. Um, and yeah, they just sound really raw and underproduced and fun. And yeah, I mean, how much fun was that show? Yeah, no, those guys really know how to put on a great performance.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that was very cool. But yeah, but we've actually co-inhabited the same space a fair bit lately because of course yesterday was my birthday and I chose to have a Dan and Frankie day. Well, me and my wife Kylie and my two kids, Harper and Lex, we all came up to visit Auntie Frankie and yeah, had a picnic by the sea and a big long walk to get ice cream and all sorts of fun stuff. And your cats,
Yeah.
well, one of your cats, of course, came out and was instantly cuddling the babies, which was just, I really wish I could get either of
Until
our cats to
they
do it.
were a bit too loud. And then he was
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck is that sound?" and took off.
Yeah, but the fact that he came out and was actually nuzzling his head against their
Yeah,
feet and
that
stuff,
was
like
crazy.
that was amazing. So yeah, no, that was a great day yesterday. But yeah, and also speaking of music related stuff, so exactly 1 week ago, I finally got back into music video making. So I directed and shot a music video for a band called My, who are on Spotify, and the song was called The Regulator. And I am. Did you actually get a chance to listen to the song?
No, not
Okay,
on
fair enough.
Spotify. So I need to
Yeah, no,
remember
that's
to
all
add
right.
it on the.
Yeah, no, that's all right. But oh my God, the song is actually like really amazing. And I'm not just saying that because I want people to watch the video or whatever when it comes out. I don't care. Go listen to the song. Like listen to this band. They are so good. It's really high energy rock music. And so yeah, got a chance to do that, which was a hell of a lot of fun because it was meant to be just like a live show at a bar. Like, so we went in and there's this tiny little stage, and I thought, okay, that's not so bad, like at least I don't have to move the camera too much. But the crowd that they got, because they wanted like a whole bunch of people there, they got 7 people. And I'm like, I don't know, that might be problematic. But thankfully, because the stage was so small, sprinkling 7 people in front of it, and then kind of getting in amongst them and everything, actually made it look like there was this huge crowd there. And then every time I shot the band members individually, I just put a person on each side of the frame, kind of, bookending the person in the band. And so, like, yeah, we actually managed to make it look really good. So, yeah, I'm in the process of editing that at the moment, but I'm yeah, so looking forward to that coming out because I haven't made a music video in 6 or 7 years it's been. So yeah, so that was good. So there's been a lot of music things happening, hasn't there?
Hmm. But
Yeah.
also lots of
Mm.
movie things happening too.
Yes, let's get into the yeah, the thing that we're really here to talk about.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Well, let's start with we
mm,
got a teaser for Final Destination Bloodlines,
we did.
and anyone who's listened for a long time
Mm,
knows that we watched Low Lifes when it came out back in like a year ago, pretty much.
mm.
And I still don't know why, but I completely loved Richard Harmon in that film. Like I don't know what it was about that character, but
hmm
I then went on a spree of watching a bunch of his movies.
hmm
And then he got cast in Final Destination Bloodlines.
Yep.
And then I see his face in the thumbnail for the teaser, which is actually a scene from the movie rather than a,
Mm.
traditional trailer style
I thought
thing.
that was an interesting thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was like really happy to see him, but kind of a little unhappy that I don't get to go into the movie not knowing anything about his
Mm.
character because I've seen this, which is a perhaps pretty big part of his role.
Yeah, well, we had this discussion yesterday. Like we're not 100% sure. Like I don't think that they're gonna blatantly give away a death scene of a character. So
See, but I feel like they easily could because it's a Final
mm,
Destination movie. So you
mm.
know that there's going to be a lot of those.
It's kind of good though that it's got us talking though, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm skeptical. You're less skeptical, and so yeah, we'll find out, I suppose.
Yeah.
So,
But anyway, he seems like he's playing a typical kind of character that he does well in.
yeah, a low life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hmm.
So yeah, looking forward to that.
Mm.
I mean, number four is terrible movie, but overall the franchise I think is really fun.
Yeah.
A little mixed on getting a new movie because the fifth movie had the most perfect ending, like perfect
Mm.
franchise ending ever.
Such a great twist.
But because the franchise is so fun, I can't help but be excited for the new one coming up.
Exactly. And I'm also interested to see how big a role Tony Todd is going to be playing. I mean, I know he never
Mm,
had a really big role in the previous ones, but of course, yeah, because he passed away. So like it's going to be kind of a bittersweet sort of viewing experience, I guess, because
mm,
I yeah, really did enjoy that guy's work. So yeah. But no, yeah, I don't know, it's just it was good to just be back in that universe, I guess, and
yeah.
seeing that stuff happen that uh yeah, what are they what's it called? A Rube Goldberg machine? Is it like the things where a whole series of things happen to, make something happen kind of thing? I can't
Mm.
remember what it's called. I should have looked that up. But anyway, yeah, so yeah, no, the whole thing about like, something falls over, rolls over, knocks something else, and to like yeah, lead to the the end game, if you will. But yeah, it was a very ouchy scene as well. I kind of winced a few times. So yeah, but no, I'm very much looking forward to that one.
Mm.
Hmm. What else has been going on?
Fantastic Four trailer came
Yes,
out.
it did, and look, maybe I just haven't been paying attention. I don't know, but I didn't realize that it was set in this whole sort of 60s thing, like which I love that idea. I think that's so
Mm.
cool. And it looks amazing. It kind of has a very retro comic book sort of a look to it. And
Feels very
yeah.
Jetsons.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
And the car looks cool.
Yeah, so look, I'm sure there's going to be people out there who are like, "Ooh, how could you not know it was set in the 60s? And it's been revealed all along." It's like, yeah, well, look, try having kids, okay? That's all I'm going to say. Um, you
Yeah, I
saw what our
know.
life was like
Yeah.
yesterday. So, yeah, it's not easy keeping up with things.
I don't know anything about Fantastic Four. I haven't seen any of the movies,
Ah,
which in some cases apparently is a good thing.
yeah. Look, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people out there who are going to say, yeah, just avoid all of them. I didn't mind the 2000s ones, with Jessica Alba and Chris Evans and the other people that were in it, who, off the top of my head, I've got his face. Yeah, Griff. Oh man, I can't remember the dude's name now. But anyway, I didn't mind them. I thought they were, just sort of good popcorn, fun movies. I think you would actually enjoy them because you like those kind of films. Fant Four Stick, when that came out, that was bad. I thought it was just, yeah, kind of a terrible film. I definitely went with the majority on that one. But no, I don't know. I think this one looks really, really good. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what the it's very much an intro trailer thing.
mm,
So I didn't really it didn't grab me story wise of what was going on, but
mm,
it's mainly how it looks and having like four people, well, three people I really like, and then the guy from the Bear who I don't know because I'm only like a few episodes into the Bear, and that
mm,
I don't know. Don't think I've seen him in anything else.
right.
But like having those four there, they really intrigue me. So
Mm.
no matter what, I will watch it
Oh
for
yeah.
them.
Look, yeah, it's not going to be difficult to get me to watch anything that Vanessa Kirby is in. Yeah, I'm shallow like that. I don't care. So yeah, that's got me happy. But no, I like the concept of the Fantastic Four. You got like stretchy guy, rock guy, fire guy, invisible not guy. So yeah, I mean, I've never been a huge fan, but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a good time. Um, yeah. So yeah,
The
cool.
other thing we have is awards season.
It is award
Um,
season. They're
Oscar
just handing them out.
nominations came out.
Hmm.
And once again, I look at it and I'm like, oh, yeah, it's like the same handful of films for nearly every single category. So it becomes exciting when you see a different movie, like Alien Romulus got a nomination.
Mm. Yeah.
So it made me happy to see that just because it's something different.
That was for Best Picture, right? Probably not.
No.
No.
I think it was it effects or something? Yeah, visual
Yeah.
effects.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, it's up against Dune Part 2
Mm.
and Wicked,
Hmm.
which I know people have complained about the how
Of course they
that
have.
looks, which I haven't seen it.
Mm.
Um, but
Hmm.
it's a beloved film.
Mm.
And Oscars seem to be about more than the specific award thing when
Yeah.
they are voting. So,
Mm.
even if it doesn't look that great, it might still get it because it's such a popular film.
Yeah. Well, when I initially saw the list of Best Picture nominees, I was a bit disheartened because at the time I had only seen one of the 10 films, which was Dune Part 2, which I wasn't even that big a fan of. And yeah, so I kind of thought, okay, that sucks. But I have managed to see one more of them, which I will, of course, talk about a bit later on when we talk about our movies that we've been watching lately, because I've been doing some catching
Yeah,
up. So,
I've seen three
mm.
of them.
Oh, wow.
Um, I every year I think, oh, maybe I should just watch because the same films get nominated for nearly everything. I
Mm.
always think, oh, I should just watch all the films just so I know them all and can
Hmm.
pick my favorites and just
Right, right.
see. But then I look at the films and realize I don't want to. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I have absolutely no interest in watching a complete unknown because, don't hate me, but I am not a Bob Dylan fan.
Oh God,
So
I
I do not
can't
want to
stand the
watch
guy.
a film about him.
Yeah, no, I no, I am not a Bob Dylan fan whatsoever. Yeah. Uh, but no, oh, look, I'm actually trying to find. So what? Yeah.
I
Okay.
do want
So
to watch The Brutalist. I think I've missed that at the cinema. So I'll have
yeah,
to wait to see that. I'm really, really wanting to see that.
I
Uh,
read the synopsis and everything, and I'm kind of like, I don't know. It didn't really
no,
grab me.
I watched the trailer and I was
Mm,
interested straight away
okay.
and
Maybe I need to
heard
watch
good
the trailer
things.
for it. Yeah.
Conclave I've got on my list to watch. I should have watched it by now, but I just haven't got to it yet.
Mm,
And yeah, I mean, maybe I'll get to the rest, maybe not, but
yeah. I
I
want
definitely want to
to.
get to those two.
I really want to see Anora. Probably out of all the ones I haven't seen, that's the one that I most want to see
Yeah,
because
that's really
so many
good.
people are talking about that.
I would love for that one to win.
Right, right. I would really like to see Wicked. And to be honest, I want to see Amelia Perez just because,
I'm curious about that because it's so
yeah,
polarizing, but
yeah.
there's more. The more I hear, the more I think it's probably not going to be for me. So I'm not
Hmm.
prioritizing it.
I want to like it just to stick it to all the homophobes and everything out there who are like, ooh, congratulations to the four women who were nominated for Best Actress, like, yeah, those people shit me. So, I would like to watch it. I would like to enjoy it and yeah, I don't know. But yeah, the rest of the films, I don't even know what Nickel Boys is about. To be honest. I don't know. Um, yeah, so I'm not really hugely fussed on a lot of these films. Uh, particularly particularly when I have like limited time to watch things and it's like, oh, do I want to watch something called Nickel Boys that I've never heard of, or do I want to watch, one of the many films from last year that I've got to catch up on? So, yeah. I don't know. I'm not really that interested in this year's Oscars, to be honest. I don't even think I'd really watch it. I don't think I watched it last year
Yeah.
either.
I did kind of.
Hmm.
I had COVID when the Oscars were
Right,
on
right.
last year, and I was laying on the couch feeling like absolute crap. So I had
Hmm.
the Oscars on just as something in the background to distract me, and it was
Hmm.
pretty good because Ryan Gosling was there singing "I'm Just Ken,"
Oh, that's
so
right. Yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
saw bits
it
of
was
it.
fun. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I yeah kind of watched it.
Mm.
But it was the same thing last like every year. I wish I could get really into. I mean, if the Oscars were like they used to be, then I would like to get really into it. I mean, Four Weddings and a Funeral was a nominee for Best Picture when it came out. Like, that is
Hmm.
insane to think about these days with the kinds of movies you
Hmm.
have to do. Also, the fact that it's not just based on who was the best lead actor in a film
Mm.
this
Yeah.
year. The fact it's not based on that
Mm.
and it's only select films that campaign and all of that. And then sometimes they give awards because, oh, this person has done good work over their career and hasn't won an award, so let's give them one.
Yeah, yeah.
And things
Well,
like that. It
yeah.
annoys me.
I know we've had this discussion. I can't remember if we've talked about it on the podcast,
Yeah, I
but
don't know.
yeah, it's that thing of like when you look at the 90s, or the 80s and 90s, best picture nominees, like they were just all these awesome genre films, like Gladiator and Forrest Gump. And I'm
Ugh.
not that I'm a fan of Forrest Gump, but no, I'm throwing it out there because it's not a big
Yeah.
serious political film or anything like that. There were all these fun films that were nominated for Best Picture, and then if you track it, like if you actually look, it was sometime in the 2000s, like things just changed, and it suddenly became films that had a message or dealt with social issues in some kind of way or political
Biopics.
stuff, biopics, yeah, all of that sort of stuff, and that overshadowed the fun genre films
Well,
that
that's like when I finally watched It Happen one night, and then I was looking it up afterwards, and that
mm,
won Best Picture in
mm,
1930, whatever it came out.
hmm
And that surprised me because I'm just like, wow, it's pretty much a rom-com. And
yeah,
just imagining a rom-com now being up for an Oscar is just
yeah, yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Well, because I had to write an article for work at one point, and it was about all that sort of stuff, and yeah, so I did a lot of research, and I actually looked at all the Best Picture nominees and winners, over the last couple of decades, and you can see a distinct pattern, like, and exactly when it sort of switched and started becoming different. I mean, my God, we could devote an entire episode to this discussion, which I actually want to do. Well, actually, you had the idea because that article ended up getting rejected for something else that I had to write. And so I think you had the idea of doing a video essay on my YouTube
Mm.
channel, didn't you? Yeah, which I still want to do because I still think it's, kind of a not an important topic, but an interesting one anyway. So yeah, I'll probably do that at some point down the track. But I want to jump in. I just want to say I was browsing, speaking of award ceremonies, so this is relevant. I was browsing stuff on YouTube recently, just a few days ago, and I came across there's a channel on there, and I can't remember the name. It was like the VHS Vault or something like that, and they had the 1996 MTV Video Music Awards. And I thought, oh man, like, this is back when music was awesome. So I jumped on and watched bits of it, and oh man, the nostalgia nearly brought tears to my eyes. Like you had Michael Jackson opening the whole thing, you had all these performances by all of these mid 90s amazing artists, and just the fact that that was back at a time when music videos were really celebrated, and
Mm.
like they even had best director, Spike Jones won for Weezer's I can't remember,
Island in the
Buddy
Sun.
Holly. No,
Oh,
no,
Buddy
Buddy
Holly.
Holly, the
Yeah.
one that was set in like the Happy Days sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, all these. other amazing videos and stuff. But on this channel, they had all the MTV Movie Awards as well from the 90s, which I can't wait to get stuck into and watch a whole bunch of them because as far as I'm concerned, the MTV Movie Awards to me were so much better than the Oscars because, you know, there was categories that you wanted to see, things like best fight scene and best
Yeah.
villain and best kiss and stuff like that. And this is probably a good segue to announce what we've got coming up, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, would you like to take it
Well,
away?
we just talked about this a while ago last year. And so we thought we would just do our own awards and give
Hmm.
out our own, like, have our own winners from the movies from last year. And it covers all movies because,
Yeah.
we don't care about campaigns or whatever. It's
Hmm.
just based on merit in the particular films.
Exactly.
And we have all our fun categories because we don't have all
Hmm.
the Oscar categories because who cares
Rubbish.
about half of them? And so we have things like, what do we have?
Person you want
Best,
to slap the most, I
yeah,
think it
we
was.
have that. We have best hair,
Yep.
best animal,
Yep. 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 Oh,
best like minor character stealing the movie or something. We've
yeah,
just got a
stuff
whole
like
bunch
that.
of things. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
going to be fun.
Yes, so the our first annual DAF Academy Awards, we will be recording that next weekend, and yeah, we'll get that out as a bonus episode pretty soon. And yeah, every winner will be receiving in spirit a golden cat trophy because cats. What more can I say? Um, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into that. That's going to be super, super fun. And yeah, I don't now that we're doing video, do we actually have to get dressed up for this, or do we have to wear like, do I have to wear a tuxedo? And are you going to be wearing a evening gown or something?
Well, I don't own an actual evening gown, but
Yeah.
I mean,
It's too hot for a tuxedo.
it's
Actually, I've got a
yeah.
tuxedo shirt, like a t-shirt with a tuxedo print on it. There you go. I'm sorted. Uh, when you're like, oh, so who are you wearing tonight? I was like, Target. No, I don't know where I got it from, but anyway,
All right, maybe I'll try wear something a bit pretty then.
look, we'll see. So you see what you've done now that you're like, oh, let's do video element. Anyway, and yeah, that's right. I forgot to like to all the people who are listening out there. If you want to jump over to our YouTube channel and come and hang out with us, we are here. We are actually on screen right now doing our thing. It's crazy. You could
Yeah.
even watch us on YouTube, have the podcast playing simultaneously to the side, like. Don't say no. We get double the hits that way. Uh, um, yeah. What else? Back to awards.
Yeah, I was just going to briefly mention because Nobbins sent an article our way yesterday because the Critics' Choice Awards happened
Hmm.
and they made some pretty good choices.
Ah,
So skip ahead if you don't want spoilers if you haven't got to it yet. Although by the time this comes out, I'm sure everyone will know that
yeah,
wants to know.
exactly.
So Anora won Best Picture, which was great
Hmm.
because that's, I mean, like I said, I've only seen three, but that's my pick that I want to win Best Picture.
Right, right.
Adrian Brody won for The Brutalist for Best Actor.
Hmm.
Demi Moore got Best Actress, which
Hmm.
also I loved Mikey
I
Madison
think it's Mikey.
in
Yeah.
Anora
Hmm.
a lot, but I don't
Mm.
think anyone can come close to Demi Moore in this instance.
Yes.
Like she surely has to win it. And
Mm.
not I know people talk about the whole career thing, which could apply to her, but in
Mm.
this case, if she wins it for that, like, she deserves it for the movie
Yeah, yeah.
anyway, so it'll
Totally.
be fine. Karen Culkin won for Real Pain for Best Supporting Actor, which is very
Nice.
good as
Hmm.
well. And then um, going
Mm.
away to TV
Mm.
because they do TV as well. Oh, and the thing that I saw lots of people very unhappy about,
Mm.
but I think is pretty fun. Best comedy was a tie,
Oh, yeah.
A Real Pain,
Mm.
And do you want to guess what the other one is that pissed people off?
I it's going to take me way too long to try and think of it, so you should just
It
dish
is
it.
a Marvel movie.
Um, Deadpool and Wolverine?
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
So
Yeah, but
they
that's a comedy.
but then again, well, yeah, but best comedy, people were not
Yeah.
pleased that it
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was
is.
the best comedy.
Well, okay, but the other nominees were Hitman, My Old Ass, Saturday Night, and Thelma. So,
Okay.
I mean, I haven't seen three of those. I started
Hmm.
watching My Old Ass. I haven't finished it yet. But
That
I
sounds
did.
weird. I'm
I
sure you did.
enjoyed, like, as sad as it is to say, I enjoyed A Real Pain in Deadpool and Wolverine more than Hitman.
Hmm.
I liked Hitman, but I didn't love it, which was just sad because it's a Linklater
Hmm.
film. But
Yeah, yeah, right.
anyway,
Hmm.
the other thing that made me extreme, oh, also that TV series Shogun won a ton of awards at this, just like it did at the Golden Globes. So
Okay.
I'm very curious to watch that because
Right.
it seems to be a good thing.
Right,
But
right.
Adam Brody won Best Actor in a Comedy Series for Nobody Wants This, which
Hmm.
it's probably the best show I watched last year, maybe.
Okay.
Definitely one of the best Netflix shows around. So
Hmm.
that made me happy.
Cool. Very good.
And that's it.
Is that your official coverage of the Critics' Choice Awards?
Yeah, pretty basic, but
Mm.
that's all we need.
You didn't want to sign off with my name's Frankie and you've been watching. No, probably not. Especially because we're like in the middle of the podcast. So why would you
Yeah,
say goodbye now? That is just insane.
yeah,
All right. Well, yeah, that's pretty much movie news.
yeah.
I don't know, that's my news
Let's
theme.
move into what we've watched recently.
What have we watched? Well,
Well, I have a sort of, I don't know what to call it, a thing happen.
assist,
No,
um, a tumor. I don't know.
no, I just came. Actually, or do you want to just go into it?
Yes.
This all came from the game Framed, which, if you
Right.
don't know, is a daily game you can play where it shows you a frame from a film and you
Hmm.
try and guess what the film is. And you skip it if you don't know, and it shows you six different frames. And so you got six guesses of what the
That
film is.
get progressively more obvious.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
Well,
true,
actually,
true.
I guess it depends because maybe it is obvious if you've seen the film.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes you can make educated guesses by an
Mm,
actor or by what's been shown. But yeah, it's really
yeah.
fun. And then they have also brought in a new one more recently that's just one frame with a big black box over most of it. And every
Mm,
time you skip, the box gets smaller. So
hmm.
that one's quite fun as
It
well.
is.
But one day, Framed had a limitless as
Mm,
one of the films. And as happens occasionally, I sometimes you don't know what the film is, but the six frames that it shows you intrigues you enough to want to see the film.
hmm.
And I've added a few to my watch list from that.
Yeah, right.
Nobbins said Limitless was, pretty fun,
Mm,
fun enough.
hmm.
So I then Bradley Cooper, of course, is the main actor in that movie, and he's stuck in my head. And I kept thinking I should watch it. And
Mm.
then I listened to a podcast and they talked about A Star Is Born, and so I'm like, oh, Bradley Cooper again. I should watch that film because I realized when I was, because he has this thing where when I should talk about myself because it's a taste thing, obviously. When I see pictures of him, I'm just like, whatever. He's a big good looking guy. He's got the really blue eyes.
Hmm.
Um, but then I see some photos that are not so flattering. But he's one of those people that when you see him moving in a film, he's like, he looks really good. He goes from good looking to sometimes it's like I'm completely distracted from this scene because he's so good looking, and it's like, having that right in front of your face. And
Mm,
I actually started watching Alias because I saw he was in that, and I was like,
hmm.
oh, I never watched that show. It was huge when it came out. I saw bits of it because I remembered bits from the pilot episode that
Mm-hmm.
there was something with her dad and something at a
Mm-hmm.
running track. But also, when I was looking at pictures of Bradley Cooper, because what I like to do on Letterboxd with my favorite actors is actually go into the options of the picture that is connected to their profile
Mm-hmm.
and pick the best one. And Bradley Cooper doesn't really have good ones. There's some really
Oh, okay.
unflattering ones in there.
Right,
But
right.
then, yeah, so I then, and sometimes he's had really short hair, which doesn't work for him, although that's a thing. I'm not overly into short hair.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started watching Alias. I hadn't looked up anything about it or what he looked like in it or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Started watching the pilot episode, and then he turns up and he's got sort of shortish hair, but it's long enough to look a bit messy and it's like lightened. And
Right.
so it's sort of a, I don't know what color you'd call that. It's kind of heading to blondish, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not completely. And so the first scene he comes along and I'm just like distracted.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I, half my reason for watching Alias is now because he's incredibly good looking in it. It
Well,
looks like by the number of episodes, it looks like he's in the first two seasons, maybe. So unless he goes away and
yeah.
comes back, but he's only got like 40 something episodes
Yeah, yeah.
credited to him. So I'm guessing it's the first two seasons.
Oh man, no, you're in for a wild ride with that show, especially the first two seasons. They're oh man, because back when this came out in the early 2000s,
Which you
my
can tell when it came.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
feels very 2000s.
Very much so. My girlfriend at the time, who I was living with, like, she was obsessed with this show. But so we watched it regularly, like week to week when it was airing and stuff. And yeah, the first couple of seasons, or probably the first three seasons, I thought were just amazing, like up there with some of the best TV shows I've ever seen. The last couple of seasons, they were good, but I thought they got really convoluted, like in terms of the story and the plot. Like they had this whole sort of, you know, Illuminati Renaissance stuff coming in and it just got all very confusing and everything. But there's just I love the characters in this show. Like they're I mean you've only seen one episode, did you say?
Yeah, I've only seen the pilot so far.
So I can't really talk too much, but yeah, there are just some absolutely amazing characters. There's some amazing plot twists in it, and there's one yeah, see, I can't talk about it. There's one moment in particular that stuck with me forever. Like
When does that happen?
I can't remember. It was maybe between seasons two and three.
Mm.
I've got to look into it actually. I want to find out if this scene is on YouTube because yeah, it was amazing stuff. But it was just this one little character moment for Sydney Bristow. But yeah, Jennifer Garner's performance in it was just heart-wrenching. Like yeah, it was amazing. Anyway, I'm not going to say too much, but yeah. Good luck. You're going to love this show. Seriously, I can't wait to hear what you think about it. I've actually been wanting to revisit it myself for a very long time now because, yeah, but yeah, time is of the essence. Can't do that. So, and besides, I don't watch TV shows, even though I do have Alias like all five seasons on DVD. But yeah, actually, that is a show I would probably upgrade to Blu-ray. I think I did like it that much that I would probably upgrade it. So. Yeah, but anyway, I can't wait to hear what you
Hmm.
think of it.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
I watched that and then I did watch Limitless, which
Hmm.
is fine. It so it's because it's about this guy who is a struggling writer and he's just kind of doesn't really care much, gets dumped by his girlfriend because he's not really going anywhere, runs into
Hmm.
his ex-brother-in-law who's like, hey, I work for this company, we're testing these pills here, have a freebie,
Hmm.
saves you $800.
Hmm.
And he takes the pill, and it's actually the really interesting thing about the movie is it's kind of like he says, we only use, everyone says we only use a small percentage of our brains,
Hmm.
this will unlock the rest. And when he takes the pill, the the movie's in quite sort of what's the word, like dark tones.
Hmm.
Um, and then when he takes the pill, everything brightens, which is
Okay.
very interesting
Hmm.
for Cooper's very blue eyes that then become extremely blue when everything
Right,
brightens.
right.
But he comes into his apartment and sees all the dishes in the sink and the mess everywhere. And he's like, oh, how can anyone live like this? And then he
Mm.
just completely cleans and tidies and makes everything nice. And I'm watching that going, oh, can I have one of those pills?
Or you can just not be lazy, you know? Come on.
Hey, yeah, I'm not going to get into that.
It's a
But
joke, is it though? Anyway.
um,
Mm.
yeah, you've thrown me off with that
Oh, I'm
because
sorry.
that's a thing some people have to deal with, and it anyway. So
Use more of your brain. Then you can remember what your train of thought was.
no,
Maybe
it's
you
not.
should have
It's not my train of thought. I've lost. It's that you just went in a different direction that I don't want to get into. So
oopsies.
the movie goes along, and of course, he starts taking more, and he gets super smart, works out stock markets, and does all this, and it's just not overly it's kind of fun but
Mm.
not I gave it 2.5.
Mm.
I could
Yeah.
watch it again, it'd be fine, but I'm not adding it to my collection or
Hmm.
rushing to watch it again
Yeah,
or
yeah.
anything.
Fair enough.
But then I had a weekend where I was like, I want to watch a rom-com. There's a few rom-coms I haven't got to,
Mm.
like the really fun sort of 2000s-ish ones. So I watched
Hmm.
Failure to Launch, which
Oh, yeah.
has a lot of bad reviews, but
Mm.
I guess it's like Marvel movies. It's what you get with rom-coms. Whereas generally I find them fun. And this one was fun. I mean, it's got Matthew McConaughey,
Mm.
who was like charm personified. So you know that that's going to work. But Sarah Jessica Parker was the girl in it. And
Mm.
that kind of didn't really work.
Yeah.
But the side character that she lives with kind of has a bit of a thing with one of the guy friends,
Hmm.
and that's actually a bit that's more interesting than the main couple.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
But it was fun, so
Mm.
it's silly fun because it's just
Yeah.
the Matthew McConaughey still lives at home with his parents. They want to get rid of him, so they
Hmm.
hire Sarah Jessica Parker, who offers the service of you know getting basically fake dating these guys and
Hmm.
getting them to the point where they move out and live on their own. But of course,
Okay.
she actually falls for him.
Hmm.
It's a
Of
rom com.
course. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
that was fun. Bradley Cooper's in that. He plays one of the friends of McConaughey,
Hmm.
and he's like this super laid back, travels around the world guy because he's doesn't have money issues or anything, so he just does whatever. So it was
Mm.
fine.
Yeah.
But then
Mm.
the big one of probably one of my favorites that I watched since last time
Mm.
was Midnight Meat Train
Right, right.
because Bradley Cooper's the main guy in that, and
Hmm.
he's not someone I would have expected to be in a horror movie.
Yeah.
So that was very intriguing to me.
Hmm.
So I pretty much rented it as soon as I
Mm.
found out that he was in it, and I watched it. This also has some really bad reviews, but also a lot of people really like it, based
Hmm.
on the Clive Barker story. And it's this guy who's a photographer, he likes to take photos around the city, and he goes to see this like gallery lady, and she kind of trashes his photos and says that they're not, he's not capturing the right moments and they
Hmm.
don't have that impact. So he goes out during the night and is just walking around, goes into the subway, finds this girl who's been hassled by a bunch of guys, and he's taking photos, but then he kind of steps in to save her. And then the guys take off, she hops on the train, and then he reads the next day that she's gone missing. So then
Mm.
he becomes interested in what happened and starts following this creepy guy that was on the train
Mm.
and gets completely obsessed. And this is where the movie gets really funny because it's like the ultimate in characters making really stupid decisions. Like he's following this guy, he follows him into his workplace
Mm.
and is taking photos and just all this kind of silly. Like it annoys me when characters make really stupid decisions, but this one went so far that it became funny, and
Yeah,
so
right.
I was enjoying it.
Hmm.
And the highlight for this is Vinnie Jones, who plays the creepy guy on the train that's killing people,
Mm.
because it's perfect casting. He doesn't say anything and just looks super menacing,
Mm.
and he really does look menacing. So
Wouldn't be
that
difficult for him.
so that was really good. And
Hmm.
there was a weird thing that happened in it.
Mm.
There's like a sex scene in it that it was started off a bit weird because he sucked her finger, because there's a thing before stuff got going, but he starts kissing her neck and stuff. He's like behind her, and I don't know, like it stood out to me, and I don't know if it's just not a thing in other movies or I just haven't noticed, or it was the sound design in this, but he was like heavy breathing, like
Mm.
getting into it. And I haven't really noticed guys heavy breathing in those kind of scenes.
Yeah, right.
But it was pretty nice. I liked it. And
Hmm.
then I was enjoying watching the scene until it got weird. And
In
it
what way?
well, it just the like it went from like the really hot beginning to just a bit weird, and then I'm watching it, looking at them going, I don't know if you guys are enjoying it anymore or not. it just
Okay.
it just got weird. I don't
Right,
know.
right.
So it's like a scene of two very different feelings, but the initial part, I do kind of think differently about Bradley Cooper now
Mm.
because of that.
Did it
So
get weird because his character said something to her like, hey baby, the midnight meat train is pulling into the station? Because that would be amazing. He should have said that. Because that then of course that's where the title of the movie comes from. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
no.
it did cut from the weirdness of it to the train traveling through a tunnel. So
Oh, very clever editing.
and then went to a killing scene. But yeah, the kills are really good in this. It's a really sort of stylized, over the top violence.
Mm.
And like you see people's eyeballs popping out of their heads. You get
Yeah.
POV shots from the people that are being killed. So it's a very fun film. I
Well,
recommend.
it is by a Japanese director who I've seen a couple of his other films, and yeah, so obviously the Japanese have a, hyper exaggerated way of doing violence and stuff. I own this movie on Blu-ray because our friend to the show, Jesse from Dark Cell, who also has a podcast called Rad Freaky. Hang on, he's got two podcasts. I can't remember. Anyway, he recommended this movie to me like way back when it first came out. And I remember he was like banging on about it so much that I actually just went and blind bought the Blu-ray. And I mean, this would have been back when Blu-rays were kind of in their infancy. I'm kind of thinking it might have even been like among the, first Blu-rays in my collection, but I haven't actually seen it since then. So that's been a good like 15, 16 years or something since I actually last saw it. So I don't really remember much of it. I do remember enjoying it. And now that you've talked about it, I'm kind of like, you know what? I should probably crack that open and actually watch that. Oh, I'm just looking at on Letterboxd that the similar films. Uh, Amongst a couple of Saw films, you've also got Terrifier and Terrifier 3. So naturally, yeah, really should probably watch it again because
Yeah.
I'm most likely going to
Well,
enjoy
yeah,
it.
the kills are the best part, because then also later on, the guy's girlfriend and friend also make really stupid decisions. So it's a
Mm.
movie of stupid decisions, but it has enough good stuff to overcome that.
Right, right. Well, I am very happy to announce that I have been finally catching up on a few of last year's best films that I just didn't get around to, and I'm finally doing it. And so Kylie and I finally got around to watching The Substance. Which look, I'm not going to go into what it's about or anything because by this point, if you're like anyone who's into movies probably knows all about it. But yeah, my God, I was blown away by how great the visual storytelling is. You know, that opening scene where you've got the Hollywood, Walk of Fame star, when you first see Elizabeth Sparkle's name being put on there and like she's posing and stuff, but it's all from a top view, which I thought was really interesting. And then it just lingers on there and you go through all the different like over the years, I guess, or something, of like, you know, telling how she was becoming more obsolete, just the way that people were at first they're like, oh my God, like, let's have a photo taken by the star. And then, it eventually gets to a point where people are just spilling food on it and not giving a shit about it and stuff, and it's all weathered and everything. And I just thought that is brilliant. That is such a genius way to show that there is this character whose, career has fallen and they've gone by the wayside and all this sort of stuff. I'm just like, wow, like
You
it
know what's
had,
funny?
yeah.
A lot of people cannot read into movies anymore. And I heard on a podcast that apparently a lot of people are just like, oh, there's not enough character development. We don't know anything about her. And that's what the guy who said that on the podcast, that's what he said. He was like, the
But that was
opening
so
scene.
obvious. That's not
Yeah.
something that you need a degree in film to understand. Like
No,
that is
apparently that's just modern times and
all
young
right.
movie
Well,
people.
to
And
any
that's why
listeners,
everyone talks about media literacy and how that's
yeah. Well, to
declining.
anyone out there who didn't pick up on that, I didn't mean to offend you. I'm sorry you didn't pick up on that. Dumbass. But yeah, that's not nice. Come on. But no, from there on, it just that movie just gave some of the most mind-blowing cinematography and camera framing and particularly the shots like down the long hallway of the TV studio, yeah, studio, things like that. Like just there was so many things that just wowed me, But then, of course, the actual story itself was just so insanely over the top and amazing, and just completely impossible. But it's a movie, so you've got to suspend disbelief. There's a whole sci-fi element going on in there, but. Yeah, the performances all around, everybody in this film was just superb. And we were just loving every single moment for it. It actually really gave us Requiem for a Dream vibes in a lot of ways, and yeah, like there was just in the tone and stuff. But then of course you get that, you know, wound on Demi Moore, like where the needle keeps going in, which is just getting blacker and blacker. And it was like, oh, that's just like Jared Leto's arm in Requiem for a Dream. There were a lot of things like that. But yeah, we were just kind of like going along this incredible ride all the way up until like the last 20 minutes or so. And I know you share this opinion, where things just went a little bit too over the top, but also it kind of felt like we were in a different film by that point. I know Nobbins had an explanation for it and everything, and I'm sure a lot of people do, and that's amazingly great. But yeah, we felt it kind of took us out. And like I liked the last 20 minutes or so. Like I liked how over the top it was and the makeup effects, like the fact that so much of this film was done practically. We did go and watch a YouTube video on the making of the film that I actually had bookmarked for the time when I finally got to see the film. I was like, oh, because I probably wouldn't mind watching that. And yeah, like so much of it was practical. The whole like Demi Moore's body, where the other one comes out and everything, like that was all done practically. And I just thought, yeah, wow, that was so great to see. Um, but yeah, it did feel like it belonged to a different film or whatever. But it didn't stop us from. We actually bought the Blu-ray a couple of days ago, which was something we just don't really tend to do much of lately anymore. But Yeah, so I'll be really looking forward to getting stuck into a lot more of the special features on that because yeah, no, that movie was every bit as amazing as everyone's talked about. And I'm glad to see that film is nominated for so many Oscars because I know
I
it
was just
does.
gonna say that because
Right,
yeah,
right.
it
Well,
has
yeah, take it
the
away.
themes and everything, but
Yes.
for a horror movie that is so full on like that to
Mm,
be up for nominations is
mm.
surprising.
Yeah, which is why I didn't really want to talk about that earlier because I didn't want to give away that I'd seen it until now. Um, but yeah, I mean, obviously there were all of those sort of social issues, particularly things about women, which I applauded. I, think there should be more movies that address that. But yeah, it is kind of a popcorn genre film at the end of the day. Like, I felt it was more that kind of a film than it was like, trying to bang a message over our heads. So yeah, no, I'm already looking forward to seeing it again and again. Like, yeah, that was such a great film, and I am so happy that I finally got to watch it. So yeah, what else you got?
Um, I also watched one of the big movies of last year, which is a big movie of this year in Australia.
Oh,
I finally got to see Nosferatu.
yay!
So I was looking forward to this for so long,
You were
and it did not disappoint.
excellent.
I know a lot of people struggled with certain things, and I didn't have those struggles.
Hmm.
I liked it's sort of it's got a strong atmosphere and it's quite slow, but beautiful, and
Hmm.
I loved it. Very interesting to see Bill Skarsgård in this, like how he
Mm.
looks.
Mm. I've
Um,
had that spoiled for me, so I know how he looks. Yeah.
yeah, so it's an interesting choice.
Mm.
But yeah, I liked the focus. I thought Lily Rose Depp was good. I liked that
Mhm.
it kind of focused on her. And I know a lot of people had issues with it not being like, no romance and it wasn't sexy enough or whatever in that story. But I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be that. I'd read an article ages ago saying that it's not focused on that.
Mm.
But I feel like it didn't need to be. Like there was still sort of that connection between them.
Hmm.
It just wasn't, like that. And you've got Bram Stoker's Dracula to get
Mm.
that. So these are like
Yeah.
complementary to each other.
Yeah, yeah, right. And how was the horror element? Like, was it scary? Because I have not yet seen it, and I'm really keen to, but
No, it's not scary.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you describe it. It's
Hmm.
just, I mean, I didn't think it was scary
Mm.
at all. I don't
Yeah.
think it's dark,
Hmm.
but yeah, I don't
Mm.
know. It's just
Just atmospheric and
it's like a
like,
sort of creepy atmosphere
yeah, yeah.
because of what's going on, but it's
Mm.
not scary.
Hmm.
And it has a pretty cool ending and like I loved the final shot. Like it was
Okay.
perfect final shot. So
Right,
I
right.
yes, very
Hmm.
much enjoyed it.
Cool. No, the reason I was asking if it was scary because you're kind of my gauge because if you say a movie's scary, then I'm like, yep, okay, note to self, do not watch that one late at night by myself or whatever,
Yeah, it's definitely not that
which
kind of movie.
pertained to the movie Oddity, which I finally got around to watching because both you and Nobbins had mentioned in your reviews on Letterboxd that, yeah, you don't ordinarily get scared, but this movie got you. And so I'm like, yeah, I don't think I want to watch that, like, late at night with headphones on by myself.
Best way to
And
watch it.
oh my God, I am so glad I didn't because yeah, I don't know if I would have been able to finish the film. That was so fucking scary. My God. It was yeah, I guess I didn't really know too much about it from, just the limited stuff I'd seen and read or whatever, but so I went into it reasonably blind as to what the
And
plot
that
was about or
opening,
whatever. What's that, sorry?
the opening.
Oh man, that was so great. And I love so much that whole thing keeps you guessing throughout. There were some really good kind of twists and turns and things that I didn't see coming. But Yeah, fuck me. The atmosphere in that film was sensational.
Mm.
And there were some really good jump scares as well that like look,
The
I'm
tent.
just gonna openly admit it. Like Kylie and I were laying in bed watching this film, and at one point she had the covers up like with her, hand over her face, just kind of peeking through her eyes. I was laying next to her, just sort of holding her like for security, because this movie really got under our skin. I really applauded the lead actress Carolyn Bracken for playing the two roles of the twin sisters because at first it didn't even occur to me that it was the same actress, and then like yeah, I don't know, like it sort of eventually when I don't know something was mentioned in the dialogue, and I was like, oh shit, that's the same person. But yeah, wow, she did not just her look, but her performance. Like she did a
Mm.
really great job of playing the two people. Um, I guess there's not really too much more I can talk about, but yeah, this was a movie I loved all the characters in it. The whole plot was incredible, and that goddamn wooden mannequin thing, yeah, just wow. I mean, at first that thing is menacing, particularly I'll be as vague as possible, but the bit where, she goes over and, looks over the ledge downstairs to the dining table, like that moment, fuck, that got me. But I like how you know, because of the way that things happen towards the end, your feelings about this mannequin thing shift, and yeah. Look, that's all I'll say. But yeah, no, I'm so happy that we got to watch that film because, yeah, if you guys out there are after a really genuinely scary horror film, you're not going to get much better than that one because, yeah, that really, yeah, that did it. Hmm. What else you got?
Um, I was going to try and follow with something related, but I don't have anything at all
Oh
related
well.
to horror left now. So let's just talk about some airplanes. So
All right.
um, I follow Serial at Midnight, and the that's Heath who runs that. He organized a watch along for the Patreon group, and they
Mhm.
decided to watch Airplane, which I have seen when I was a kid, but I didn't really remember it. So it was my first time revisiting a long time, and
Airplane.
that is
What's that? Because of course we don't call it airplane over here.
oh yeah, okay, it's called Flying High in
Yeah,
Australia.
everybody here knows it as flying high.
Well, I know it as Airplane because I don't remember anything, and that's what everyone calls it now when I've seen it anywhere or seen posters or
Really?
anything. I guess it's Americans talking about it that I
Oh
always
yeah,
see.
Americans do because that's what it's called over there. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Anyway, okay,
mm,
Airplane Flying High,
mm,
whatever. Which confused me when I went to look for it too, because it was
mm,
streaming on binge and I searched for Airplane and it didn't come up. And I
yep.
wondered if I was being lied to until I followed the link from Letterboxd and it came up with Flying High. So then I
Hmm.
could search the right title.
Hmm.
Anyway, so this is from the 80s and it's a spoof on the disaster movies that were big in the 70s, especially.
Mm.
And a lot of the things it pulls from one of the airport movies. And so
Hmm.
it was really fun because I've seen a couple, three, no, two at that time of their airport movies.
Hmm.
And it's really interesting because, when you watch an old comedy, you're like, is this going to hold up for
Mm.
modern times? And this movie maybe has the most jokes in one movie ever. It's all jokes.
Even more than Hot
And
Rod.
yeah, and
Yeah.
but most of them work. And
Mm.
so when one doesn't really worked so well, it doesn't
Hmm.
matter because straight away you're going to have another one.
Mm.
But yeah, most of them do work. So
Hmm.
that was really fun. And so I had a lot of fun revisiting that. And
Mm.
also, I didn't know until hearing people talk about it that Leslie Nielsen was like the straight guy
Mm.
in movies
He
until
was,
this
yeah.
one. And then suddenly he became this comedian, which
Hmm.
because I obviously saw all the kids. I was thinking of Naked Gun. I just combined words. Saw all the movies he did, like the Naked Gun movies
You
and
saw all the
stuff. And
kids that he
so,
had, like, yeah.
so I just always think of him as the funny
The funny guy.
guy.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
don't even know if I've seen anything in that he's been serious. So
I haven't. I
I don't
can't
know.
remember
I
what it
mean, I
was
may have, but
now.
not anything that stands out. So I just think of him as
Mm,
more a comedian
yeah,
whenever he's
yeah.
mentioned. So that was interesting. And then
Mm,
after that, because I was in the mood,
hmm
later that day, I continued on with the airport series and watched Airport 77,
hmm
which I think has some subtitle. No, it doesn't. That's the next one.
Right.
And so this was one I've been looking forward to in the series because it's a plane crashing into the water. So it's
Mm,
underwater. And big cast in this as well. I was especially pleased to see Jack Lemmon because I recently watched The Apartment and
hmm
he was really charming in that. So it was nice to see him again.
hmm
And so, yeah, there's a plane flying to deliver some art to this rich guy that's doing a thing. And it's one of these really fun, like old movie things where the plane is like, a fancy rich person's plane. So it
Mm,
has like chairs and a bar, and people are just walking around, doesn't look at
right,
all like
right.
a normal plane. And there's an
hmm
upstairs where they have the office and everything. And so these guys sneak into steal the art by pretending to be um like waiters on the workers on the thing,
hmm
and then they um take out the pilots and are going to fly and land the plane, but it goes wrong and they
hmm
crash. And then
Right,
Jack
right.
Lemmon is like an actual he's the pilot, and
hmm
so he wakes up after being knocked out and then is working with people to try and survive because part of the plane got damaged, so water is starting to come in.
Mm.
They turned off the bad guys turned off the navigation things, so they're not on the radar for
Ah, okay.
anyone to find them, and they've gone off course because they
hmm
were heading somewhere else to land the plane. So yeah, it becomes that kind of movie. And I know I get these movies are my thing, and I get really tense, especially at the end when everything's happening. You're like, are they going to survive? Is everyone going to make it? And
hmm
all of that. And then I read reviews online and people talk about it being boring. I
Oh.
had that happen with a space one.
Oh, okay.
um I can't remember the name. I had Gregory Peck in it, but a lot of people found it boring. And then when
Right.
I watched it, I was gripped because,
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. It gets me those kind of movies where you
Mm.
wonder if they're going to make it and how they're going to survive and stuff. So,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, that
But
was really
the
fun.
the important question though, if this plane like crashed in the water or anything, were there sharks? Nom, nom, nom.
There were no sharks.
Oh, come on. That's probably why
Mm.
people found it boring because there's no sharks. Nom, 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 nom. Um, no, that's it. I've been wanting to see more of those 70s design, like things like the Towering Inferno, and
Yeah,
I
that's
have
great.
seen the Poseidon Adventure, which was really good. But yeah, I've been wanting to get into more of those
And
kind of
they
films.
have like it was a big thing. So the
Mm,
cast list for almost all of them is like so many big names from the time. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's really
Oh yeah,
fun.
no, those movies were yeah famous for doing that. Um, Well, speaking of harrowing experiences, I revisited a film. I showed Kylie the coffee table, which I did have to chuckle because, of course, it comes up at the start, like, 2022 Talon Black Night Dark Coffee Film Festival. I don't know, whatever the fuck it was called.
Yeah.
And there was just something though I kind of forgot for a moment about like everything we talked about, and I was like, "Hey, that's that." Oh yeah, that's right, because I'm watching that film. Duh. Yeah, but anyway, no, it was now the reason I'm bringing this up because I know, of course, we've talked about this film, but um, In the past, you wondered, if having kids would change the way that we look at films like this.
Happens to a lot of people.
It happens to a lot of people, and at the time I was like, "Pfft, no, like whatever." But that was because I watched that at the time when Kylie was pregnant with our twins, and like we didn't, technically wasn't actually a father at that point. Yeah, it does make a difference. Not to the point where I'm like, ooh, no, I'm not going to watch movies like that ever again or whatever. Like, I still rated this movie 5 stars. It is still to me just such an incredibly creative way to give people anxiety. Because that's what this movie is. It is a journey into anxiety and paranoia and all of that sort of stuff, and it works brilliantly. And I still absolutely love it. Kylie, on the other hand, was just like watching this thing, just borderline in tears, is going, "Can we go and wake the kids up just so we can cuddle them right now?" Because, like, yeah, it actually kind of does make a difference, which I found really interesting watching it this time around. So, um, yeah, but I think she enjoyed it. I know I did still, of course, because like I'll always love this movie. But yeah, it was an interesting experience. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we need to watch more movies that involve bad things happening to babies. I think that's sort of a kind of non-spoilery way of mentioning this film. I don't know. I'm not going into specifics, but yeah, maybe we need to watch more of them just so I can like, get the full impact of them. Oh, we'll have to watch that French movie Inside where like with the pregnant woman and the one who's trying to get her baby.
Oh yeah, I
That'd
have
be a
that
fun
on
one to
DVD.
revisit. Yeah, yeah. So do I. Yeah. What else you got?
I oh actually I have
Mhm.
for YouTube people.
Oh, show and tell time. Haha.
I have this Mae West box set from
Ooh.
Indicator, which has been on my shelf for so long, and
Frankie holds up a
so
box set with a picture,
is
an
can
artistic
you
picture of a
not
woman
do
on it.
that?
Oh, okay, fine.
We don't do it when we talk about movies normally, so you don't need to do it just because I have
It's for
something in
the
my
audio
head.
listeners,
It
just so they
doesn't
know what's going
matter.
on.
They
It's like
don't
closed
need to.
captions.
No, it's just annoying.
Oh, okay, fine.
So I watched the first film, Night After Night,
Hmm.
which has uh, George Raft. See, this is people that I didn't know before this movie.
Mm,
George Raft and Constance Cummings, and they're like because they're the main two people in the movie. Mae West doesn't actually turn up until like halfway through or something,
right.
but they're so charming and it's
Mm,
just so fun.
hmm.
So yeah, it was a really good time. I then watched the second movie, She Done Him Wrong, which
Damn right
has
she did.
Cary
Done.
Grant in it, and it's kind of
Mm.
boring.
Oh.
The scenes with Mae West and Cary Grant talking to each other were
Hmm.
really good,
Hmm.
and everything else was not. But this first one, Night
Hmm.
After Night, highly recommend.
Right.
If you like old films, I don't know. I just found like the guy, he had a small part in Scarface, which obviously is the original one.
Mm.
If you're not aware, like Mae West movies, these are all from around like the 30s
Hmm.
time. And so I don't remember him in that film, but
Mm.
he stood out. And it's also what was really interesting. This is a pre-code film, and
Ah, yeah.
I hmm?
Sorry. No, go on.
I thought you said something.
No.
And so I don't know if I just haven't seen a lot of pre-code films or they just there's not that many that have this, but he's getting into the bath in the morning
Mm.
and like you actually see him take his shirt off and
Mm.
the camera basically goes cover shows his top half and is as low as you can pretty much go without
Mm.
showing anything, and it's
Right,
just
right.
really shocking in an old film because
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
not used to that happening
Mm.
in an old film, so that was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Hmm. Cool.
Hmm.
Yep, I have absolutely no way to segue into this next one, because it's a very different kind of thing. Um, I watched This is the Tom Green documentary, which is actually a film from this year. And yeah, look, I back in the 90s, oh no, was it late 90s, early 2000s, like when the Tom Green show came out, like I was obsessed with this guy. Like seriously, I had several VHS tapes, like actual store-bought VHS tapes, that had a few episodes of his show and stuff. Like, it was just his style of humor just really connected with me, just that kind of absurdist humor. I loved his style. I loved just everything about him and that show. And I actually got to see him. He actually toured Australia, like, oh God, I think it was like 10 years ago or something. And he played a show here on the Gold Coast and actually got to see him and stuff, which was great. But yeah, I was interested in this because it's actually directed by him. Um, and he's like sitting there talking to his mum at the very start of the film, and she's like, "Oh, is it a good idea you directing the film? Because, you might kind of whitewash your own story and everything." He's like, no, not a good idea, but he went with it. But no, I thought it was very interesting, it just sort of like, yeah, it took you through his life and of course, his very public battle with testicular cancer and stuff. And yeah, there were a lot of really interesting, there's a lot of things that I didn't actually know about him and stuff. But yeah, just very interesting to see like how his show came about and how it sort of became bigger and bigger and bigger and got picked up by a network and all of this sort of stuff. And yeah, there was the only thing that sort of let it down for me. I kind of felt that it wasn't like the sort of drama element wasn't really kind of like gripping, you know what I mean? It was just kind of a little bit fluffy. So yeah, I kind of thought they could have maybe, made it a little bit more impactful, but overall, like, yeah, no, I thought it was very interesting. Yeah, I would highly recommend it for anyone who is a Tom Green fan. But yeah, even if you've just got like a sort of a passing interest or whatever, it is currently streaming on Amazon Prime. So yeah, easy to access, but
Never saw
yeah.
his show. I
Hmm.
knew about him that he had the
Hmm.
show and did movies and stuff, but pretty
Hmm.
much I just know him from Road Trip.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, oh my God, like that character he played was so him, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, he was cast in that, because he is Tom Green,
Mm.
so there was that. But yeah, no, it was interesting. But no, his show back in the day was just it was like a punk rock kind of a talk show-ish sort of a thing, but involving skits and everything. Like, even the people who created Jackass even said like there would be no Jackass if it weren't for Tom Green, because his show kind of originated that sort of style and everything. So yeah, no, I found it quite interesting. So, yeah, very highly recommended.
Mm.
Hmm.
Well, I have one more film, which was partly me continuing on the Bradley Cooper thing, and partly me getting to a movie that I've been meaning to watch for ages. And I
Hmm.
mentioned it last time as a movie that when we did our 5-year things
Hmm.
of anticipated movies. So
Yep.
I finally watched Wedding Crashers.
Right, right.
And I actually, it was funny. I started this before work one morning because I had half an hour to kill. And I
Hmm.
thought, this kind of comedy, it doesn't matter if you don't watch it all in one
Hmm.
go. So I was like, I'll just watch the first half hour and see how it goes. And
Hmm.
what a brilliant first half hour.
Isn't
Like,
it?
so funny. And I forget how much I love Vince Vaughn doing
Hmm.
comedy because I don't know, there's something about him. And there's a scene early on where his assistant or whoever is talking to him and saying, "Oh, I want to set you up with this woman."
Hmm.
And then he does this big spiel about why that's a bad idea. And he's just
Hmm.
talking really fast. And I'm just like, to actually get, I wonder how many takes there were to get that whole, because it's kind of a sort of back and forth repeating
Hmm.
line thing about, this and then this had happened, and this and this. And I just like, wow, to get it
Hmm.
out that fast. But yeah, so For people who don't know, this has Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson who crash weddings because women are horny at weddings, and so they can just go hook up with women there and, you know, move on to the next one.
Mhm.
And then they go to this wedding of this sort of rich family. One of the daughters is getting married, and then Owen Wilson's character falls for the other daughter. And Christopher Walken's in it. He's the dad, and he's
So good in
some.
it.
I don't. Was he like a? I don't know if he's just like a company person or a political person. I can't remember. But anyway, they're like, you know, he's having a conversation, getting in his good books. And so Vince Vaughn goes and hooks up with the other sister, who is Isla Fisher,
Mm.
who is just one of the most unhinged characters in a movie.
So amazing. As I when we were talking yesterday, like I said, she to me steals every scene that she is in. Oh my God, I love her. I love slash hate her character so
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
So she's like, hey, you should come, you know, with the family. We're going to go to this place for a few days. So you should come along.
hmm
And Vince Vaughn's like, no way.
mm
And Owen Wilson's like, yeah, because he wants to get with the sister, even though he's found out the sister has a boyfriend who
mm.
is Bradley Cooper in like the worst character. But it's
Yeah.
really funny because I know they always, in this kind of movie, they're like, oh, we've got to put her with a horrible guy so that you want her to be with the
Mm.
main guy.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like they've been together for 2 or 3 years. And I'm like, she's just been with this guy for that
Mm.
many years and hasn't worked out like how awful he is until Owen
Yeah.
Wilson comes along.
Apparently so.
But yeah, so then it just becomes a dealing with the next few days of the awful boyfriend and the crazy sister, and
Mm.
also the crazy mother who's trying
Yeah.
to seduce Owen Wilson. And it's just weird. I actually said in my review, I was like, oh, Christopher Walken's a great movie dad. And then afterwards, I was like, he's really not when you look at how dysfunctional that family is. But what the movie does, and it worked on me, is they focus on the relationship between him and the Rachel McAdams character, who
Mm.
is the normal person in the family.
hmm
And that's a really good relationship. So that's why I'm
Mm.
like, he's a cool movie dad. Plus, you know, it's
Yeah.
Christopher Walken. So
Exactly. Yeah, you can never go wrong with him.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that movie. I actually saw it at the cinema when it came out. Which ordinarily I tend to try and avoid movies that have the word wedding in the title because they're kind of the worst kind of chick flicks. But
Yeah.
I mean
There's a
the
lot of fun
cast of
ones.
this one hooked me and everything, and I'm so glad I went and saw it. Like, yeah, it is just yeah, such an amazingly funny
And there was a
film.
Bon Jovi reference.
Right, right. Yeah,
So
I can't actually remember what that was. What was it?
when they're talking about something, and Owen Wilson's like, we've been to a million weddings and we've rocked them all.
Oh, okay, right, right. I have to rewatch it. It's been a very long time since I've seen it, but the thing that stands out to me the most was Isla Fisher's character in that. Like, yeah, because it's one of those instances where, you know, there's just someone who's like the worst possible character that if you met them in real life, but seeing them in the context of a movie, especially a comedy film, it's just like yeah, I love it. It's like yeah, just
Yeah.
do your worst.
Well, that's like villains and like and
Yeah,
certain
yeah.
other characters that it's like I just absolutely love them in the movie, but I was
Mm,
like could not deal with them in real life.
hmm yeah, no, cool. I'm very glad that you got to see that. Well,
Oh, also,
yeah,
Henry
yes,
Gibson was in it. And
right.
so when he
Yeah,
turned
yeah.
up, I was just like, it's a Clopac because I just can't help but think of the Burbs when I see him. And then I was
Right, fair
like,
enough.
oh, he looks exactly the same. What's going on? These movies are so many years apart. But then when I
hmm
Googled it, I realized he, you know, didn't look exactly the same. It's just that
mm
he already had the white hair in the Burbs.
mm
But yeah, I mean, he didn't look hugely different, but
mm
it was,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting. But it's
Yeah,
also
yeah.
weird because he was playing like a priest, and it
hmm
just was such a change. I'm just like, but you're a sinister guy. What's going on?
Well,
But
speaking
yeah,
of
that was fun.
priests who are involved in the church, which relates to supernatural things, there you go. There's a good segue. Look, I'm just going to come right out with it. I watched Ouija Shark because as you were subjected to for the entire day yesterday, so my wife and I we've found ourselves in this weird phase of our lives where we're obsessed with sharks. And when I say obsessed, oh my God, you just don't understand where like how bad it's gotten. I recently bought a shark onesie and came out into the bedroom after my shower and was like, look at me, I'm ready for bed. And, like it's gotten bad. It's gotten really bad. So I was looking on Tubi and oh no, that's right, because I was looking at shark posters, like a Google search for shark posters, because I wanted to like make a funny picture out of one. And yeah, this one for Ouija shark came up, and I'm like, oh my God, like those two words combined just don't make any sense at all. But I'm a little bit of a fan of terrible films, so I'm like, all right, let's check this out. And oh God, I'm so glad I did. With these movies, you're going to go one of two ways. You're going to start watching it, and about 5 minutes into it, you're just like, oh my God, what have I committed to? Like, I don't even know if I can finish this. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. Or you're going to be treated to something where you're just laughing your ass off, and you're just like, oh yeah, I am digging this. This is everything I wanted from a movie called Ouija Shark. Fortunately for me, it was the latter. Um, I don't know where to begin with how absurd this film is, but one of the standout moments, which I didn't even pick up on it at first, Kylie was just laughing her ass off, and I'm like, what? And she's like, so look, who cares about the plot? A group of teenage girls summon an ancient man-eating shark after messing with a spirit board that washes up on the beach. An occult specialist must enter the shark's realm to rid this world of the deadly spirit ghost once and for all. Um, so there's a scene where these four girls they go to stay at this house. Who knows who's it? They probably just broke in. Who cares? And they're outside at a circular dining table where they've just finished a big barbecue meal, and they've put their perfectly spotlessly clean plates aside. And they've got this Ouija board. And one of them, the girl who brought it along, she's like, "Oh, let's do this." And one of the other girls says, "Oh, we'll have to go over onto the lawn because we have to sit in a circle." They're at a circular table on, like four circular positions, like, and yeah, that kind of is a really good way to sum up what this movie is like, because there are scenes where, I mean, the ghost shark itself, like, changes size. Like from some scenes, it's kind of, I don't know, maybe about a meter in length. Another scene, it's the size of an entire swimming pool. It is as big as it wants to be. Yeah, there are just so many what the fuck moments in this film, and I loved every single minute of it. I didn't give it a full 5 stars. It only got 4 stars from me because, it is at the end of the day, maybe one of those films that if you watched it a couple of times, you'd be like, you know what? I've seen this now. I maybe in 20 years time I'll watch it again. I'll show the kids when they're old enough. Yeah, it didn't have like, that Deadly Prey quality where it's just like, oh my God, I could watch this movie every week. But no, I did love it. And I when we got to the end of it, I jokingly said to Kylie, like, oh my God, I can't wait to see the sequel. Lol. Yeah, turns out there is a sequel. There is Ouija Shark 2, which I've got lined up ready to go because I need more of the Ouija Shark. Um, but yeah, no, look.
I
mm.
I'll finish what you're
Oh, I
saying.
was just gonna say, like, if you are the sort of person who loves those kind of movies, that I don't care what Steve Rosinski says, that are so bad they're amazing, because this movie really is bad. Yeah, I highly recommend this one. It's streaming on Tubi at the moment, and yeah, get into it.
You just put me in mind of a documentary which I haven't seen, but I heard about it. It's on Shudder. It's called Shark Exploitation,
Oh,
directed by Steven Scarlotta, and it's yeah, a documentary about shark cinema. So
okay.
you may be able to get some interesting
Yeah,
things from
yeah,
that. Looks
maybe.
like it has film people and um, biologists and things
Okay.
um, in it.
Well,
So
look, we just look, honestly, I'm probably not even going to get time for it because if you go onto Tubi and you type in the word shark in the search thing, oh my God. I don't know. There are dozens of movies that just look incredible. I think there was a space one. There was Shark Exorcist, which I also think sounds kind of amazing. Yeah, there are so many really bad shark movies on Tubi. So yeah, I'm kind of keen to get into a few more of those. So stick around throughout this year on Dan and Frankie Goes to Hollywood because we might be getting into a few more like ultra bad shark films. But yeah. Anyway,
hmm.
um, speaking of sharks, which of course are fish, and you can go fishing with a rod and you can reel them in. What do we?
I
Come on,
wondered where
Alan.
you were going with that. I forgot that we still had really in the years to do.
We do have reeling in the years. Why don't you tell everyone what this is about?
So this is just a fun way of us highlighting films from previous years that um, are underappreciated or
Mm.
undermentioned. So
Hmm.
if you have not heard of them and they sound interesting, you can go hunt them down.
Hmm.
And we've just been going back a year every episode, and so we're up to 2012,
Yep.
which has turned out to be quite an interesting year for me. I've got a favorite director and a
Ooh.
favorite actor, and just
Mm.
yeah, some like really perhaps kind of deep cut things. So it's a
Okay.
pretty good year for passing on potential favorite discoveries to people.
Right, right. Well, I only found four films.
Only.
Well, normally we got like at least five or six. Two of them I remember reasonably well. Two of them I know I love them, but I haven't seen them for a
Yeah,
really long
I have
time.
a couple like that as well.
Right, right. So I'll probably be kind of vague on a couple of them, but that's all right. But you go first.
Okay,
You
I'm
can
going to
lead the
start with
charge.
one that I don't really remember, but I really enjoyed it at the
Hmm.
time. And I meant to look up how to say his name properly.
Oh,
Milo Ventimiglia,
ventriloquist.
um,
Yeah.
uh, aka Jesse from Gilmore Girls,
Right.
stars in this one. It is Kiss of the Damned,
Ah, okay.
and it's a vampire movie, and it's a female vampire meets a man who becomes obsessed with her and doesn't mind that she's a vampire,
Hmm.
and they end up, or she ends up turning him into a vampire, and
Hmm.
they are enjoying life together. And then her sister comes along who is chaos and is causing trouble for the kind of vampire society, and trying to seduce him as well.
Hmm.
So this is a throwback to like old sort of Euro vampire movies from
Hmm.
like 70s and stuff.
Yeah,
So
right.
but yes, I really need to rewatch this because I haven't seen it since the first time I watched it.
Hmm.
But yeah, I had a good time.
Cool. My first one, I'm pretty sure I saw this one at the movies because it kind of intrigued me. And that is a movie called The Grey with the incomparable Liam Neeson's. So following a grueling 5-week shift at an Alaskan oil refinery, workers led by sharpshooter John Otway are flying home for a much-needed vacation, but a brutal storm causes their plane to crash in the frozen wilderness, and only 8 men, including Otway, survive. Spoiler alert. As they trek southward towards civilization and safety, Otway and his companions must battle mortal injuries, the icy elements, and a pack of hungry wolves. So yeah, this was a survival thriller. And as we have mentioned numerous times, I am a really big fan of survival thrillers. And yeah, I this is one of the ones, yeah, that I haven't seen in quite a while, but I just remember it being quite a good thriller. And Liam Neeson's, well, I've got to call him that. I'm just Key and Peele sketch, valet parking attendants. Go watch it. Um, Yeah, he was really great in this film. I think this was kind of around that turning point where, he kind of started becoming like a big Hollywood action star. But yeah, no, yeah, a very good survival thriller. So yeah, I definitely
Hmm.
recommend that one. I do own it on Blu-ray. That's how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
My next one is a chance to highlight my favorite German actor,
Ooh.
who is Tom Schilling. And the movie is A Coffee in Berlin, which also has the title Oh Boy, which is fun. And I don't remember this, it's been so long since I've seen it.
Mm,
But it's basically a guy in his 20s who's a college dropout, and he's just kind of like living in the moment, drifting around Berlin, meeting people. And yeah, it's the kind of movie that, some people complain about the lack of plot because it's just
mm,
following this guy around.
mm,
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. And yeah,
mm.
I don't know how much my love for Tom Schilling adds to that, because like I said, it's been so long I can't remember
Right,
exactly.
right.
But I mean, it's got a 3.6 average rating on Letterboxd. So,
Hmm.
lots of other people will enjoy it too.
Mm. Yeah, right. My next one is a film that has a 2.6 average, so I guess I'm kind of yeah, in the minority, but this was a gimmick film, and I look, I'm a sucker for gimmick films. This was Silent House with Elizabeth Olsen. Sarah returns with her father and uncle to fix up the family's longtime summer house after it was violated by squatters in the off-season. As they work in the dark, Sarah begins to hear sounds from within the walls of the boarded up building. Although she barely remembers the place, Sarah senses the past may still haunt the home. Um, this one I really need to revisit because it has been a very long time since I've seen it, and I've only got sort of vague memories of it. But it's one of those films that is done, well, it's designed to look like one continuous shot. It's like 90 minutes long and so it's in real time. And from memory, yeah, it was kind of scary. Have you seen this one by chance?
No.
No? Okay. And I didn't realize till this morning when I was doing some research and I looked at the names of the directors, Chris Kentis and Laura Lau, and I'm like, where do I know those names from? They were the people who actually did Open Water, which I thought was a brilliant film. I absolutely loved it. I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh, that movie was boring. It's two people in the ocean with sharks. Oh, sharks. I know. But yeah, I thought that film was gripping. And yeah, from what I remember of this film, yeah, not only was it quite an effective, scary film, but yeah, I just loved that whole real time element as well. So, yeah, I do have this one in my Blu-ray collection. I will endeavor to rewatch it at some point soon. Mm,
My next one is probably the most popular of the ones I'm mentioning,
mm,
but it doesn't get talked about a huge amount. And it's a
hmm.
film by Jeff Nichols, who is one of my favorite currently working directors.
He is.
And it's called Mud, and
Mm,
stars Matthew McConaughey
hmm.
and Reese Witherspoon. But it's like a coming of age film about these two boys, and they discover a fugitive on this island that they travel to, who's Matthew
Hmm.
McConaughey, and they get caught up trying to help him reunite with his lover, who is Reese Witherspoon. And yeah, just the events that come from that.
Hmm.
So it's a very good film,
Okay.
as all Jeff Nichols films are.
Well, so says you.
Yes, and lots
Um,
of people.
yes, that is true. I still haven't got around to watching the Bike Riders yet. That was one of his, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. For a moment there, I was like, wait a minute, that was one of his, wasn't it? But
Very good
yeah,
film.
yeah, yeah. No, I haven't seen it yet. My next one. Okay, so this is a film that I do remember a lot of because oh God, it's so freaking brilliant. It was one that I blind bought there was a video store closing down, and I bought an ex-rental DVD because it just sounded intriguing and. I love this film. It's called Ruby Sparks. Um, It's got Paul Dano, Zoe Kazan, who also wrote the film, I do believe. Calvin is a young novelist who achieved phenomenal success early in his career, but is now struggling with his writing as well as his romantic life. Finally, he makes a breakthrough and creates a character named Ruby who inspires him. When Calvin finds Ruby in the flesh sitting on his couch about a week later, he is completely flabbergasted that his words have just turned into a living, breathing person. It's such a cool idea for a plot. You know, this guy has like created this character and she suddenly comes to life. And yeah, it is just a really entertaining, enjoyable film. Has rom-com elements, all that sort of stuff. Oh no, it's on your watch list. I see. I was going to say,
Mm.
oh, wait a minute, you've seen it, but no, you haven't. Um, yeah, no, I highly recommend this movie. And yeah, I think the fact that, this was actually written by a female, so it's not just, kind of like, I mean, you can imagine, a lot of male writers might have turned this into like some kind of like, you know, fantasy fetish kind of a thing, like, oh, the woman's come to life. But no, it was very intelligently done as well and everything. It is streaming on Disney. It's Oh, you can buy it on Amazon. So yeah, go to Disney, watch this movie. Yeah, thoroughly recommend it.
Mm.
Boom, mic drop.
My next one is perhaps the opposite mood to that. It's the Danish film
Oh,
called The Hunt, which stars Mads Mikkelsen.
uh-huh.
And he's a teacher, and everything's going pretty well for him.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, well, I should say it's not going well for him, but it's improving. He's like a bit lonely. He's got custody issues with his son,
Hmm.
but things are starting to look up, and he's met someone. And then one of the children, who I think I can't remember what age group it's preschool. So one of the girls accuses him of doing something to her,
Hmm.
and then he has to deal with um, how everyone reacts to that, which apparently is based on a real story from
Hmm.
Norway, I think, which they have um, made sort of more dramatic for the film. But yeah, obviously stuff like that happens, and just how everyone treats him because of the accusation. And it's
Hmm.
a hard film to watch. It's very like full on, as you can imagine, with that kind of storyline. So
Right, right.
yeah, don't watch if you're happy, because well, unless you don't want to be happy anymore.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Because yeah,
It's
it's very
it's a
dramatic, but
happiness antidote.
it's like such a great film. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's worth dealing with those emotions.
Right. Okay, cool. Well, I mean, I'm always open to the odd Danish film here and there, being that I'm half Danish myself. So my last one that I've got was a film that, funnily enough, I was actually reminded of this film a couple of days ago because the lead actress in it was also in Gran Torino, which of course we will be discussing soon. And yeah, I was looking up what else she was in, and I saw this film. I was like, oh my God, I love this film. And then it turns out it was from 2012, so I get to talk about it now. And that is a film called Compliance. I don't know if you've heard of this one, but
I don't know. It's one of those genericish titles.
it is well, yeah, genericish title, but I once read, I think I read about the synopsis of it and how it was actually based on a true story and stuff, and I was like, holy shit, this sounds really intriguing because so the vague letterbox synopsis says on a particularly busy day at a suburban Ohio fast food restaurant, manager Sandra receives a phone call from a police officer saying that an employee has stolen money from a customer. Now, this actually happened in real life, and it wasn't a police officer. It was somebody posing as a police officer. I believe, they were in like full uniform and all this sort of stuff, which was all fake. But so they basically detain this employee and make her do unspeakable things, like it's not a comfortable watch. Actually, this is another movie that, by all means is an antidote to happiness. Um, And the thing is, like, you're watching this movie, but like to know that all of this actually happened is just like, whoa, this is really hard-hitting stuff, you know? So yeah, it is a film I would highly recommend to people because yeah, it's one of those things that I kind of feel, it's important to know that stuff like this goes on in the world, you know what I mean? Even though it's not pleasant subject matter. Yeah, I was very impressed with this film. I bought it on DVD. And yeah, I'll probably watch it again at some point down the track because it's been a while since I've seen it. But yeah, yeah, bit of a hard watch, but highly recommended. So yeah. Was that everything you had, or did you have
No.
no, you got more?
Yes.
Bring it.
I my final movie is one of my favorites. It is one that I watched. I think I maybe that was when my library still had Canopy. I watched it, loved it so much. I instantly bought it online and then watched it again a week later when that arrived.
Hmm.
And I've watched it one time since then as well. It is
Right.
called Electric Children.
Ah, okay.
And I found this, I think, because I was going through Rory Culkin's um, filmography. Also
Hmm.
stars Julia Garner. And it was interesting because I think at the time I watched this, I don't know. I don't know what came first because they are both in Waco, the series as
Ah, okay,
well.
right.
So I don't remember which one I watched and went, oh, I think maybe I watched Waco first.
Hmm.
And then I watched this and went, oh, they're together again. But this movie is just kind of charming. It's Jennifer Garner grows up in this polygamist cult thing that they live, really separate from
Hmm.
everywhere. So she
Hmm.
doesn't know a lot about the world.
Hmm.
And one of the things they do is they record sessions on tape. And
Right.
then one night she sneaks into where they keep the tape recorder and she finds this blue cassette tape
Hmm.
and she plays it and it has a rock song on it, which is a band covering Blondie's Hanging by the Telephone.
Right.
And then she gets discovered by her brother and they have a fight. And
I've
um,
seen this, haven't I? You
yeah,
lent it to me or
you
something, didn't
watched it
you?
because I told you about it and
Yeah,
because I
oh my
loved it
God.
so
When you said
much.
the title, I'm like, oh, I know that title. But then now you describe it, I'm like, wait a minute, I've seen this film. Yeah, okay, cool. Yes, very good
Yeah.
film.
And so she becomes pregnant and thinks that
Mm,
it's, from the Lord through her playing this tape.
hmm.
And her parents try to get her into an arranged marriage, and she runs off to Las Vegas to track down the singer of the song on the
Mm,
tape. And there she runs into Rory Culkin and his friends, who are a bunch of skater guys, and they kind of have a connection, and he kind of wants to help her out, and
that's right.
so
Yeah.
it's following them, and it is the cutest thing.
Mm,
And I don't know, I feel a lot of nostalgia to it as well because of just the group of guys, and they've got heavy music that they listen
mm.
to, and so that's my teenage years. I wasn't like part of a skater group, but
Hmm.
that was the times. There were
Yeah, yeah.
lots of skater guys around, and yeah, it just, I don't know. It's a weird movie because of the
Mm.
that whole element of her, but yeah, it is. I don't know. It just
Mm.
makes me feel happy when
Yeah,
I
now that
watch
I'm
it.
looking at it on Letterboxd, I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I do remember. I have to point out as well, you did refer to her as Jennifer Garner
Did
just
I?
recently. So yeah, the alias thing's
Whoops,
coming back
wrong
into it.
one.
Because you
Yeah,
said
Julia
Julia Garner at
Garner.
first, and I even in my brain I was like, huh, I wonder if she's related to Jennifer. And then you said Jennifer Garner. I was like, hang on, what? Yeah. Anyway, Jennifer Garner is
Yeah,
not in this film, just
no.
FYI. But yeah, no, this is one that I might have to watch again actually because
I think
I
I
loved
last
it.
watched it in 2021, so I'm like
Right.
I'm well due for another watch because I yeah love
Yeah.
this so much. And yeah, I've never heard anyone talk about it. I've never seen anything about it
Mm.
anywhere. It's just thanks to Rory Culkin, and yet again why I like to deep dive on actors I like, because
Yeah.
you find films that you just never would have heard about otherwise.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
and this is one of the big gems of that. There was like instant 5 star the first time I watched it. I loved
Yeah.
it that much.
I clearly was not using Letterboxd at the time I watched it because I didn't actually rate it. But
Yeah, well, I mean, you haven't been using Letterboxd for very long.
yeah, well, you know,
And you probably watched it in 2020 when I first watched it and told you about it.
probably, yeah. So yeah, no, that was a very good film. So yeah, no, highly recommended. All right. Well, I am in the mood to win myself a Blu-ray. So
Mm.
I think to everyone who only listens to our podcast for the trivia thing, I do apologize that you've had to sit through, oh wow, a very long time to get to the trivia, but you know, it's quality content, you know, like just roll with us here. But it is time for trivia with our good friend Nobbins. So how about we should have some sort of cool thing where we like pick up a phone or whatever as like Nobbins, are you there? And then boom, he appears. But anyway, we don't have anything like that. So let's just get into this. Here we go. It's trivia time. It's Nobbins knowledge, and I mean we're just so into this that Frankie's even gone and gotten changed for it because it's such a special occasion, and it has nothing to do with the fact that we're re-recording this bit because of technical issues or anything like that. And this whole spiel is just going to be lost on the people who are just listening to this broadcast. But for the YouTube audience, surprise! Anyway, hello, Nobbins. How are you doing?
Hello, Daniel. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Look, if I could possibly be better, I would be. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
Two
yeah.
Nobbins knowledge in 1 week. It's more than anyone could bear.
What are you talking about? Okay, so yeah, look, we had a technical upset on the previous time that we recorded the trivia thing, which is a shame because it was about the Golden Raspberry Awards, and which is just, you know,
Do you know, I didn't even know that that was even the actual name.
oh wow.
It was
Um,
literally the first question that we
yeah,
asked.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I
Uh,
know, but like over the years, I've
Oh,
never
right.
heard it
Yeah.
called that.
Yeah.
right, right.
Which explains why
Um,
you got that question wrong. That's
Yeah.
And yeah, like I mean, because you know those kind of movies are my jam, and
hmm,
so I didn't do too badly in it.
did pretty well.
Did pretty well, pretty well. And then my hopes and dreams were just
Hmm,
dashed and taken away from me because technology is a blessing and a curse.
sure is.
Notice how I'm not blaming anyone. I'm blaming technology. You know, like this is
Blame
we're just
AI. Blame the
all
cloud.
a big happy family here. We don't point fingers at anybody. So yeah. So we're gonna redo the trivia. So Nobbins, take it away. How does this work? What are we doing?
What are we doing here? Well, we're
Hmm.
doing our fortnightly trivia contest, where
Ah.
I ask the questions and you hopefully provide the answers
Hmm.
of whatever the topic of the day that I feel like torturing you
Oh,
with.
Frankie's disappeared. Oh,
Oh,
there
there
she
she's
is.
back.
Whoa.
Popped in.
Wow. That was really
That's worth watching
special.
the YouTube for.
Wow. Oh yeah, actually, there's a thought. So for those listening to this, yeah, anyway.
So,
Uh,
so
Yeah, it got the weird thing with a fake background because I
yes.
just camped out on the couch
you
for
go too
this.
far back and you're gone.
Yeah.
And because I have a range of filmmaking equipment, I've actually utilized a green screen and you know, good lighting and all
Hmm,
that sort of stuff. But you know, that's
Why
fine. It doesn't
bother?
matter
yeah.
because the people who are listening to this, they're not going to know.
Whereas I
Like,
have a small cave and a 40-watt light bulb.
I had
hey,
to
which is all
try
you
a
need.
couple of different spots to like have halfway decent light. So the thing
Yeah, yeah,
is
right.
why we don't normally record at night.
So
Hmm.
why didn't you pick one of the spots with halfway decent light? Oh,
This is better than the other spot I tried.
fair
That's
enough.
what light is like here.
It's perfectly fine. Like I said, the people who are listening, they don't care. But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
And
right,
people are
so Nobbins,
watching
you
don't
you,
care.
you ask questions, we answer them.
Well, it's 10 questions every week now.
Mhm,
And the goal is to get to 137 questions right.
mhm.
Currently, the scores are 24 each. So
Are they?
there's still a fair way to go to get your gold, platinum, signed,
Hmm.
Criterion 35 mil
Mm.
print
Yeah.
with yeah,
That the director actually
directors
delivers to you.
personally.
Like,
Yep.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
No,
pats you on the
that's
head
that's
and
fair enough.
says,
No, it's
"You're a
all right.
good person."
I'm so determined to get a perfect 10 in this category.
Mm,
Like whatever it is. I'm
mm,
after having my victory snatched from me like that,
mm.
I'm fighting harder this time.
Well, I'm sure you do well in this category. As people might know,
Mm.
myself not included,
Hmm.
the day that this podcast is coming out will be Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
So,
I didn't even think about that until like yesterday.
Hmm.
so the trivia is based on romance movies, more particularly of the rom-com variety.
Hmm. Wonder if this category, this category is sort of, maybe a little bit tailored for one of us. I don't know which one. I
Me?
mean, like I've got the romantic comedy background, so
Hmm,
clearly it's got to be me.
hmm, I would have thought so. Yeah.
Yeah. I love how Harley and
So,
Ivy are
yeah,
just looking at
10,
me like, what?
10 questions, 8 multiple choice, 2 single answers.
Hmm.
I will let you know when the question is not a multiple choice.
Gracias, senor. And what are our buzzer words?
Well, I shall think that you are going to be. I shall think. I don't like that.
No.
You shall be com, and
Yep.
Frankie, you shall be rom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like this. So I'm com, right?
Yep,
Okay.
you're the
Got it.
com man.
All right. Oh, hey.
Hey,
Hey. Cool. Let's get into this.
let's kick it off with question
Woo.
one. What Shakespearean play is the movie 10 Things I Hate About You
Com.
based on? Yes, Dan.
Uh, oh, I'm second guessing myself now. Is it The Tempest?
No, it is not.
Oh,
Let me give
damn
you
it.
the multiple choices here, Frankie. As I said at
No.
the start, there's 8 multiple choice
Yeah,
questions, and I
because
will tell
I'm
you
not
when there's not one.
I
100%.
thought I knew this.
So your options are A, Much Ado About Nothing, B, A Midsummer's Night's Dream, C, The Taming of the Shrew, or D, As You Like It.
Hmm.
Oh, Taming of the Shrew.
Correct.
Yep.
I was gonna say the wrong one before you said that, and then I was like, oh, of course.
I did say the wrong one.
Just jumped in there and got all excited and
Hmm.
yeah,
Thought I knew it. I was so
enthusiasm.
confident.
I do
Yeah, yeah.
appreciate the
Anyway, all right.
enthusiasm.
Told you I
Question
was
two.
fighting hard.
In Crazy Stupid Love, who plays the character Jacob Palmer? Is it A, Steve Carell, B, Channing Tatum, C, Adam Sandler, or D, Ryan Gosling?
I
Tom.
don't remember their names.
Don't you, didn't
Tom.
you? Yes,
Ryan Gosling.
correct.
Fuck yes. That was a lucky guess.
I didn't remember anyone's character name from that.
Yeah, same.
Steve Carell played the role of Cal Weaver. It was a
Ah,
Oh,
trick
that's
that's
right.
right.
question. All right. Can
Hmm.
you guess the name of this movie? Set in the UK, this movie features comedian Dylan Moran. It was released in 1999. It was directed by Roger Mitchell. It was written by Richard Curtis.
Rom,
Yes,
is that Notting Hill?
it is. Well
Oh,
done.
well done. Uh,
The final clue would have been its star's first names were Hugh and Julia.
Yeah,
I
that
just
would have got me.
I thought that movie came out earlier than that, so I was second guessing until you
Yeah, I was
I
said
don't
surprised.
that.
Oh,
remember Dylan Moran being in it, but
Yeah, he was the weird guy in the
yeah, it's a
bookshop,
friend. Yeah,
oh, it's
like
been a
just
long
like the
time
TV
since I've
which
seen
series.
that
was
film.
really funny when I first watched it because I didn't know, and I'm like, it's Bernard in a bookshop.
Question four. Which of these rom-coms did not win a Best Picture Academy Award? A. Annie Hall. B. Shakespeare in Love. C. Phantom Thread. Or D. The Apartment.
Tom,
Yes, Dan.
The Apartment.
No.
No, it was. Trust me. Move on. I get a point.
Frankie, would you like to guess?
Ah, I really thought the first three
um,
did. Hmm.
See, I don't know. I know some got nominated, but I don't know if they won. And then one I don't know anything about at all. Um, the first one?
Annie Hall?
Yeah,
Ah,
that's
no.
it.
It was Phantom Thread. It got nominated, did
Ah.
not win.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
There you
Should
go. The other
Mm.
three all won Best Picture.
Oh,
I
sorry,
was
sorry.
gonna say
I
should
miss
have won, but I don't know what it was
Mm.
up against.
I
But
misheard.
it's
I
a
thought you
very
said
good
the
film.
Phantom Menace. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that won all the Academy Awards, as I remember.
Oh, yeah, and it was
Yeah.
such a rom-com. Like,
Such a
are
great
you an
movie.
angel? Oh,
Question
shit.
5. What is the name of the song that Patrick Swayze sings in Dirty Dancing? Is it A,
Tom,
Tom? Yep,
she's like the wind.
correct.
Yep, nailed it. Thanks,
Oh,
Mum,
Mister,
for listening to that
I
album over and over and over and over and over again in
and you
1987.
thought that you would be crap, and this was tailored towards me.
I didn't think I'd
True.
be
Look at you
crap.
straight out there with Dirty
I did.
Dancing.
Yeah, but honestly, my God, my mum played that album like 20 times a day, every day back in 87. So,
And did you
yeah.
have your time of your life while you were listening to it?
No. Mm-hmm.
Hmm,
Sure, I did.
sure. In the movie Groundhog Day, what was the name of the groundhog? His first name was Poxitoni. What
Tom,
was it? Yes,
Pete.
Dan.
Phil,
No,
Phil, Phil,
no.
Phil, Phil. It's Phil.
First answer, sorry. Frankie, would you
Oh,
like to
oh,
guess?
shit.
Uh, is it Phil?
It is. It is. Strangely enough, it is Phil.
No.
It,
Pete,
Thanks
why
for
the
helping me, Dan, with
fuck
my
did
not
I say
remembering
Pete?
character names.
Why did I
I'm,
say Pete?
I'm quite impressed because Pete was actually on the list of multiple choice. It was Paul, Phil, Pete, or Pat.
Who the fuck is Punxsutawney Pete?
Don't know. Maybe his brother,
Oh,
cousin.
because I just saw this. This was a thing in a thing I saw recently because Bill Murray's character is the
Yes,
same
is also
name.
the same name.
I can't remember what it was. It was like a movie trivia thing or something that I saw. That's why I was so confident. I was like, oh my
Hmm,
God, I just read this like last week or something.
hmm.
And oh boy, okay,
You
moving on.
did it. You did it good. All right, moving on. Would you just like to
Please.
give Frankie the answer for the question, or
I'd
would you like
just
me to
like to
read it
give
out
her
first?
the Criterion Blu-ray. No, just kidding.
What Star Wars actor featured in a supporting role in When Harry Met Sally? Was it A. Harrison Ford, B. Carrie Fisher, C. Mark Hamill, or D. Peter Cushing?
Tom,
Yes, Stan,
I'm gonna go Carrie Fisher.
you are going to go correctly.
Yeah, because she just had those sort of roles back then. Like,
Hmm.
yeah. So I don't remember her in it, but it was an educated
She
guess.
was like the friend type.
Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
Hmm.
Next question. Who directed Lisa Frankenstein? Was it A. Zelda Williams,
From
B.
Ah, damn it.
yes, it was Zelda
Yes, it
Williams.
was. God damn it. At first I was like, I don't fucking know. And then as soon as you said it, I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Robin Williams' daughter. Oh,
Do you know why she's a Nepo baby? What's her connection?
why, what?
Do you know why she might be
What
a Nepo
Dan just
baby?
said.
What's
A Nepo
that?
baby, which is somebody
You
who
don't know what a nepo baby is.
Nah.
Wow.
Hey, I
a
also
person
thought it was Punxsutawney Pete, so give me a break here.
so a Nepo baby is someone who gets in or allegedly gets into the industry via nepotism, hence by being
Oh,
a
okay, right,
Nepo
right,
baby.
right. That makes sense.
So do you know why she might be considered a Nepo baby?
Because her
No?
dad was Robin Williams.
Correct.
Like I
That
literally just said that
is
before you asked that question. Um,
I wasn't listening.
yeah, clearly. So, whoa.
When did you say that?
Before you said daughter of Robin Williams, and yeah, I think I should get another point because of that.
Yeah, no, that wasn't a question.
Fuck. Okay.
That was a do you know?
That
Yeah,
was
well.
just outing that for
Yeah.
some reason Dan has never heard that term, even though it's been
Mm.
everywhere for the last few
I'm
That's what
years.
blew me away.
I might have
I
heard
wasn't
it.
listening.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm just too focused on Nobbins knowledge. I'm too focused on
Good.
trivia right now.
Well, get focused on this one because it's the second last question.
Oh, bring it.
All right. So, which sport, and I know you love your sport, Dan,
Oh, fuck. No, just kidding.
did Richard Gere take Julia Roberts to in Pretty Woman? Was it
Com,
A? Yes, Dan.
baseball game.
No.
Okay. I just thought, fuck it, I'll get in early because, yeah. Oh,
Frankie,
well.
so was it A, polo, B, tennis, C, croquet, or D, golf?
uh,
Sure, it wasn't baseball.
I know it's one of two, and I can't quite picture it because I haven't seen that movie in years.
Never have I, but I can still remember
Mm.
this. George from Seinfeld was there.
Yeah, I remember that, but I'm like, what were they playing? Was it?
Mm. Where's that timer when you
Were
need
there
it?
horsies or rackets or mallets or
Yeah,
sticks?
I obviously don't remember.
Well, have a go.
Um,
4, 3, 2, 1. Oh,
Polo.
Correct.
oh, come
Phew.
on.
It
Hmm.
was like fancy sport.
I was
Oh.
banking on you getting the wrong one then.
I
All right.
nearly did, but then I thought the other one that I was kind of thinking of, I'm like, surely people don't go and watch that sport.
Golf.
No, croquet.
Oh, croquet.
Oh, yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
like,
they
that's a
probably
garden party game, not a
Hmm.
people
yeah.
going to watch games. I thought it must be
They
polo.
they could go there and eat their cucumber sandwiches and drink
Hmm.
their tea
Mm.
with their fingers.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, this last one is not a multiple choice question.
Okay.
Oh,
So, what were the names of the two rom-coms that Nora Ephron directed, starring Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan?
Okay, com.
Yes, Dan.
Was one of them Sleepless in Seattle?
Yep,
And You've Got Mail?
correct.
Yay. Poof. Redeemed.
Well done. So at the end of that, Frankie, you
Hmm.
got 5, and Dan, you got 4.
I'll take that. That's fine.
Yep.
I mean, it's not as good as the 6-2 that we had the other day, but no, well done, Frankie. That was very good.
So
yeah,
that means
I don't believe
overall,
you.
sorry, Frankie,
No, I was saying I don't believe Dan now.
What?
It's
about anything.
false. Yeah.
Don't
So it
believe
means
what?
after the running total is Frankie, you are 29, and Dan, you are 28.
Ooh, still very close.
I guess that could have been the other way around if Punk's 20 Pete wasn't a groundhog.
Oh man, and if I hadn't blurted out the
Yeah.
answer. Oh yeah, things could have been very different, couldn't they?
Do you think you would have got that without Dan telling you it was Phil?
I don't know because having all the similar P names, I don't know
Mm,
if I would have remembered. It
Hmm.
probably would have just been a guess, and I don't know if I would have picked
Hmm.
correctly.
luckily you didn't
Oh
have to.
well.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Lucky I just handed it to you on a platter. There you go. All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Nobbins,
Always a pleasure.
for the second round of trivia that we've done this week. Well, we are now going to love you and leave you because we've got some movies to discuss, starting with one of Frankie's most favorite movies of all time, Tremors.
Woo.
All right. I'm gonna let you take it away with this one because this is definitely more your film. So
Well,
yes,
uh, we should
tell me
record,
about
we should
Tremors.
do this first before everything else because we've been talking so long and it's so hot in here today because I can't put the aircon on.
Oh, but it's
So
Tremors. It does. Come on.
this would have been a video store find for me,
Hmm.
and I think it's probably the first Kevin Bacon movie I saw.
Hmm.
It was either this or Flatliners, but I feel like I probably saw this first.
Right.
And basically fell in love with him from the opening scene of the movie. But
Mhm.
Valentine is like, I just love him. It's
Yeah.
just um
So what's this movie about?
well, so Val and Earl are handymen who live in this small town of Perfection, which I think said had a population of 14 people.
Hmm.
And they want to get on to bigger and better things. And they decide to leave town and then discover weird things going on, which turn
Hmm.
out to be these creatures. And they instead get stuck in town trying to survive and
Hmm.
kill these things, which are
Hmm.
graboids.
Yes.
And yeah, it's silly fun. It's the kind of movie that some people might question me giving it 5 stars, but you know, that's how I do my ratings. This is one
Hmm.
of the most fun movies, and I love a lot of the characters in it, and not all of them, because there's that kid with the basketball. No, surely no one loves him. Hang on, I've forgotten his name. I just watched it. Melvin. No one loves Melvin.
Right, right, yeah.
And so yeah, based on that, I have to give it 5 stars when I watch it, because I
Mm.
can't fault it. It's
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
what's really funny was I watched the 4K that I got from Arrow, and there's a very noticeable, because they filmed a lot of the stuff with the graboids with miniatures,
Mm.
and there's a scene where Bert is fighting or shooting at them, and you can tell he's just like in front of a screen. There's
Oh,
only
wow.
one shot, because most of the time it's showing him shooting or the
Hmm.
creature being hit, but there's one shot that shows him shooting like both in the one thing, and
Mm.
it looks not the best.
Oh,
But
okay.
you know, as part of the charm of that kind of
Mm.
movie from that time period, and it doesn't change that it's a 5 star film, because it's so much fun.
Hmm.
Val and Earl are the best, and it's
Hmm.
pretty funny seeing Fred Ward in other movies, because
Mm.
I just think of him as Earl, and
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
he's in
and
so many
then
movies.
yeah,
And I also forgot that Ariana Richards was in this film, who was, of course, the little girl in Jurassic Park, only a couple of
oh,
years later. So she was the girl on the pogo stick.
I forget, because it's not that many people in this.
Well,
It's
yeah.
such a small town.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Actually, I'm just looking. Oh, wow, that's interesting. I just noticed Frank Welker's name is in the credits here, who is a very famous voice actor. He was probably most famous as the voice of Megatron in the Transformers cartoon back in the 80s. But I was like, what's he done? He was the Graboids. Like the sounds from the Graboids was Frank Welker. I did
Yeah.
not actually realize that, but there you go. Um, yeah, look, yeah, like you said, this film is so much fun. I kind of dig the setting. Like the setting's a little bit different, this kind of like outback sort of it's almost like how every movie that's ever been produced in Australia like is set in an outback town.
Hmm.
So it's kind of nice to see like a Hollywood film doing the same kind of thing. Yeah, the characters are great. There's all so many different characters, like from the Asian grocery store guy, like Michael Gross's character Bert, who's like your typical American, Second Amendment, we love guns kind of guy, like and his wife played by Reba McEntire. Yeah, and I liked Rhonda, the seismologist who becomes the love interest sort of a thing. Like it was good that her character was necessary. She wasn't just there to be the love interest or whatever. Like, yeah, her character was quite important. But yeah, there was I I kind of found though like it I didn't really get much of a sense of tension in it, because it's a fun movie, and so the whole
Yeah.
time where it's like, oh, don't go on the ground. Like there were a couple of moments that were kind of like, oh, run, 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 but there wasn't a lot of actual sort of tension. But it didn't. That's not really a criticism, it's because
It's
it
not
is
that
a
kind of
fun
movie.
film. Yeah, 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 exactly. The only thing that stopped me from giving it a full 5 stars was like I've seen this film a couple of times before. It's I yeah, I can't really kind of fault the film itself, but it's just not the sort of film that I would sort of want to rewatch too many times over and over again for some reason, and that's just personal taste. Like, but I'm almost tempted to give it another half star for Kevin Bacon's hair. We need to talk about this right now. This is important, okay?
This is like peak Kevin Bacon, and with that hair, and
His
that
hair
his
was
his whole thing in this. There's this, like when they have an unfortunate job and
mm,
have to shower
yeah,
after, and he comes out and he's got like his hair combed back and the crisp
mm.
white shirt, and I'm just like, oh, and the swagger that he's got is that
But
character is
it's
perfect.
I sort of almost found that Kevin Bacon's hair was a separate character from him. Like, you know, I it was magnificent. His hair in this film is a work of art. It is like, it's kind of long, but not too long. It's long enough that he can do that sort of 90s thing where, if he tips his head forward or whatever, it sort of hangs, but kind of goes outward, like it doesn't just flop. It like it, it, please talk, I'm lost for words. Like
Yeah, well, I
his
mean,
hair.
I have lived with this for a long time.
Mm,
I have a love for long hair,
hmm
and yeah, since like I just said, since I first saw this movie,
mm.
that's how long it's been. So I'm glad that you're on board with it.
I couldn't help but be on board, and it wasn't even like a sort of a man crush thing or anything. It was just like, it's just like when you know, I was going to compare it to when I recently, saw 30 Seconds to Mars and was staring into Jared Leto's eyes, but that probably is a man crush thing. No, this was just, I don't know. His hair was just so perfectly sculpted and styled and everything. Like, yeah, I spent way too much of this viewing like really just captivated by his hair. But no, it's funny because the last time I ever saw this movie was, I don't know, maybe like 10 years ago or so, and I remember I was working in this crappy job sitting in an office when because I just watch movies all day, and I remember I had gone and bought breakfast and I had like, hash browns, bacon, eggs, tomato, all that sort of stuff, and when the opening credits came up and it said Kevin Bacon, I had a fork full of bacon and I took a photo of it in front of the screen and posted that on Facebook because I was like, this is going to make people laugh. And both of them did. And thank you, Mum and Dad. I really appreciate your support. Yeah, but no, look, yeah, it is a really fun film. I love all the use of practical effects, of course. Like, there's yeah. Was there any CG in the film? I don't even think so. I think it was all practical, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. But like even the way that they made the graboids move under the ground, like had the ground sort of raising up as it went along and stuff, I thought, wow, that was actually really quite inventive. So yeah. How many of the sequels have you seen all the sequels
No,
to
I
it?
think I've seen. Let me look. I think I've
Hmm.
seen maybe four of them.
Okay. I don't think I've actually seen any of the sequels. I've got like a DVD set of the first three films, but I don't think I've actually
Yeah, I've
gone
seen
into it.
four, and I think I have a set, but it might only have five of,
Hmm.
oh, hang on, I can check that.
Okay.
I don't know if it has five or
Right,
six.
right.
Oh, no, it has six. Okay, so I just don't have the most recent one
Hmm.
from 2020, Shrieker Island.
Okay.
But my set has the rest. I just haven't got to it yet.
Right,
But
right.
varying levels of
Mm.
um, success with
Yeah, yeah.
obviously there's nothing competes with the first one,
Mm.
but I do love that Bert has stayed with the franchise.
Oh, okay. I didn't
um
even realize that, to be
oh
honest. So
really? Yeah.
yeah.
Also the annoying Melvin, he comes
Mm.
back in number three, I think.
Okay.
Same actor.
Right, right.
But I think, is he, yeah, so Bert's in all of it. John Heder, he is in Shrieker Island.
Oh, is he? Napoleon
Yeah.
Dynamite.
So
Oh, okay. That's got me intrigued because
do you
yeah.
watch them all to see that?
Oh, hell yeah. Well, apparently Ariana Richards comes back in the third Tremors as well. I'm just looking now.
Oh, okay. So because I'm pretty sure the third one is the one.
Wow, she's like a grown up now. That's so weird. I'm sorry, I'm just so used to her from, things like Jurassic Park and stuff that I know her as this little kid. And I'm like looking at her on Letterboxd and she's a grown woman. It's like, oh, wow. I guess people do grow up, don't they? There you go. Everyone out there in listening land has learnt something today. People grow up. Yeah. No,
Yeah, and Fred
mm,
Ward came back for the second one.
okay. I didn't bother getting around to the second and third one in the DVD set because I just kind of thought like, yeah, the first one's so
Hmm.
good. Like, do I want
Oh,
to
well,
go further?
I
Like,
gave two and three stars, and then I
okay.
gave four 3.5 stars.
Ah,
So
all right.
yeah, I
Well,
had a
maybe
good
I'll
time.
check them out at some point.
And
Um, yeah, cool. Was that pretty much everything you
I
had for
think
Tremors
so. This is
or
the kind of movie to just go into for a fun time. Like
hmm.
it's not a horror movie.
No.
Um, it's just yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah.
I
It
don't
was
know
very
best to
much a
say.
throwback to old. I think I read somewhere it was meant to be sort of a homage to like 1950s style creature features or something like that. So,
But yeah,
yeah,
it is a lot of it is just Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward, like those two
and Kevin's
characters.
hair.
They're so good together, and even like
Mm.
Kevin Bacon just does some good facial expressions too, like just reacting to things. Like there's a scene where they are looking for some road workers and
Mm.
they see something disgusting, and just seeing
Mm.
like his expression change once he realizes what he's looking at,
Mm.
and just like I just love things. But and
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
his accent and stuff is just
I
all
did like also I did like the build up where before the creatures are revealed, like where it's you got the guy who's like died from climbing up a telegraph pole and staying there for 3 days and dying of dehydration. It's like, oh, okay, interesting. Like, yeah, there's all these sort of little clues, and then the seismology stuff and everything. Like, I thought that was cool. It's I like movies that do that. Even things like Independence Day. When it's that lead up to the invasion where like all these little things are happening and then boom, and so this movie did that in a really good way as well, I think, before you finally get to see the creatures. So yeah, it did that really well. So yeah, no, yeah, I'm definitely a fan of this film. It's a good time.
hmm.
And yeah. All right. Pick a movie. What do you want to talk about next? Do you want to discuss Gran Torino or Le Cercle Rouge?
Or maybe
Which I'm going to call the Red
we'll
Circle because otherwise I'm going to
yeah,
do a stupid French accent every time I talk about it. And no
maybe
one
we
wants
do
that.
that one first because
Hmm.
I did talk about it last time
All
as
right.
well. So
Cool. Well, now you get to tell everyone what the Red Circle is all about.
oh, here we go again.
I know.
So this is
Unbelievable.
a French heist film following a guy played by Alain Delon,
Hmm.
who is super cool in this.
Mm.
This is a cool, like stylish, cool film.
Hmm.
He gets released from prison and wants to stay out, but then he gets told about this job he could do, and then he has an encounter with an escaped criminal who's my favorite, Jean-Marie Volonté, and they team up and pull in this other guy who's a ex-alcoholic policeman, and they plot this heist of this jewelry place. And then at the same time, they have a police officer guy, or police commissioner he is, who
Hmm.
um, lost custody of the of Jean-Marie Volante's character and is looking for him. So they've got that going on at the same time.
Hmm. Yes. And after I finally got to see this damn film, because look, I'm not going to get into it, but I don't think I've ever in my life had more problems trying to watch a movie than I did with this. And I finally borrowed the Blu-ray from you when I saw you yesterday. So then I finally got to. Okay, I should kind of mention the circumstances around which I watched this. So got home from yours, which was an hour and a half drive. Got home at like 8 o'clock at night, bathed the kids, finally got them to sleep after feeding them, all that sort of stuff. And anyway, it was like 10 o'clock. I was tired. I was so freaking tired, but I was like, I've got to watch this movie. So I popped it on. Uh, it didn't really grab me. And I I don't know if the tiredness was a factor or whatever, but like I it did go very slowly to start with, and then I was kind of like, okay, like there's these people, but I don't really know enough about them to kind of care about them. But I will say, like, I mean, I do kind of feel like I want to appreciate this movie more because people like Tarantino and stuff like bang on about well, the director and his work, and there's so many people who talk about this film and how stylish it is and all that sort of stuff. And I did kind of get that. I did enjoy the heist scene. I did enjoy the fact that for like half an hour there's no dialogue pretty much. That was interesting.
No
Um,
music too. It's just all
yeah.
the sound of it happening, which is not
Mm.
much because just they're being quiet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, overall, like I didn't dislike the film by any means. But I just didn't, yeah, it didn't grab me as much as it did you, unfortunately.
Well,
Um,
I mean, it is that kind of film that, yes, tiredness perhaps
hmm,
would have added to that because it
hmm,
is that kind of film. It's not like action packed in your face to
hmm.
keep you alert.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Um, yeah,
Not
so
good. It's probably maybe your first Jean Marie Volonté
it
films, or like,
was.
apart from the Dollars trilogy films.
Oh yeah, 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 of course.
Um,
That's
but
right. Yeah, yeah, of course he
yeah,
was in those.
he's in two of
Um,
them.
yeah, yeah.
So
Um,
yeah, no,
yeah, so I
wow.
don't know. But I wasn't, that tired that I was sort of like, nah, my brain just can't deal with it. Like I was paying attention and I was gauging what I liked and didn't like and stuff like that. And yeah, like I don't know. Like it's the sort of film I sort of feel like, okay, like, I've seen it. It wasn't bad, but I don't know if I'd revisit it. But so I think you should talk about it more because I want people to be more enthustic about this film.
Well, I have talked about it, and I talked about it last time, so I don't know what else I could say about it now.
Well,
Like,
what about the people who didn't hear the last episode? Like,
well, I don't remember what I said last time, and I talked about it having freshly watched it, and
right, right.
now it's been a little bit of
No, that's
time,
that's
and
fair enough.
and I don't know. I mean, that's the thing with the film like this being like a style film, and
Mm,
it's a lot about watching it. Like I've said, the plot,
mm,
that's what's going on, but it's more like the plot is not super original. Like
mm.
obviously there's lots of films about people banding together and doing a
Yeah.
heist, so it's more when you watch it and what you're getting from it and the thing between the characters. And I loved the opening, where the police guy has Jean-Marie Volonté's, what's his name, Vogel,
Vogel,
and
yeah.
he's taking him onto the train where he escapes from,
Hmm.
but there's like so long with no, like, he doesn't say anything.
Mm.
And I was waiting because I was like waiting to hear him speak French because I've only seen him in his Italian films.
Right,
And
right.
so yeah, and I don't know, see, I really like him, so I just
Hmm.
thought it was like the expressions he was making and everything in those
Mm.
beginning parts I just found really
Yeah,
fascinating. And
yeah.
also that police character is a bit weird,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
so he was a really interesting character to
Hmm.
follow through the movie, not your typical kind of cop
Mm.
character. So that
Yeah,
was cool.
yeah. I did. That was actually funny because, yeah, so at one point when I was trying to watch this film, I had acquired a digital copy of it, which is look, sometimes when movies are not streaming anywhere that you can possibly, and you don't have a video store to go to, or, any means of watching a film that you need to watch by a deadline, sometimes you're kind of forced into a corner and you've got to rely on means that you know, let's move on. So, yeah, I had a subtitle file with it, and that was the thing, like, because no one talks at the start of the film, and so like I'm putting it on, like, okay, are the subtitles going to work? And then finally, like, so I'm skipping through, like, just trying to see if the subtitles going to work. I'm still getting to, but it was and Kylie's just laying next to me laughing her ass off because I'm just getting more and more frustrated. I'm like, will somebody fucking talk in this movie? And then finally got to a bit of dialogue and it's just like, oh God, there's no freaking subtitles. So yeah, I then tried playing because that was in a PS4. Then tried putting the USB stick in the TV. No subtitles. Oh, because at first the file wouldn't play at all, so I converted the file to a different file type. No subtitles, no subtitles. Then oh God, I tried for like 2 days trying to watch this damn movie, and I just could not get around to it, which is
The things
why
were against you. You were tired, you were
I
annoyed, you had
know.
that association. So you probably, like, I thought that opening was like, besides,
Mm,
the enjoying the actor, I thought that it was a really cool opening and really
yeah, yeah.
interesting that there was none of that dialogue and it was just following
Mm.
the sequence of events.
Oh, look, when I finally got around to borrowing your Blu-ray, and of course the picture quality was so much better than the stupid digital copy that I had. But yeah, I did appreciate it, a lot more. But look, it's the sort of film that I think I like I'd probably give it 3 stars, I think, which is still pretty good because I liked the production design and everything. And I've got to think like, I love the typical 70s style, where there was like a lot of camera zooms and stuff, which was so big in the 70s until people started realizing, hey, shots look better if we actually physically move the camera in rather than freaking zooming. But no, so zooms is just now considered so cheesy, but I kind of dig it, like, because it was such a staple of 70s filmmaking. Like the lighting and a lot of shots and everything as well, I thought was really, really great. So it's the kind of thing like I'd probably settle on like a 3 stars, but I might actually watch it again down the track. Because I would probably like to watch it with a fresher set of eyes and maybe give it another chance. So, yeah, I'm definitely not saying anything bad about the film at this point, like other than it just didn't really grab me personally. But I mean, it's got like a average rating of 4.2 on Letterboxd, so I know I'm in the minority. And I think it had like oh God, was it 90 something percent on Rotten Tomatoes as well? So yeah, it is a film that it is definitely widely regarded. And I really want to watch that YouTube video where Tarantino discusses that director. I'd like to
Yeah, I was
get that perspective.
looking up Melville to see if I had seen any of his other films, and I actually didn't realize that he directed Leon Morin Priest, which I
Yeah,
watched last year, maybe, or the year before, pretty recently,
right. I remember you talking about that
with
film.
Jean-Paul Belmondo, who
Hmm.
I still like. I thought he was fascinating in this, and it's not the kind of role he's known for. So I always
Mm.
meant to watch his other films, and there's
Hmm.
just some, like, classic, well-known films that I haven't got
Hmm.
to yet. Still haven't watched anything. I do have a Radiance film, which I think is Mississippi Mermaid,
Hmm.
which is on my shelf. But yeah, so I need to watch more of his films, and I also need
Yeah,
to
right.
watch more Melville films because.
Hmm.
Especially Le Samurai, which is his most popular film that I
Hmm.
still haven't seen. But yeah, I've enjoyed both movies I've seen so much that
Yeah, right.
I should probably see more because
Hmm.
there's a good chance that I will like those as well.
What would you think? Like, okay, so keeping in mind that remakes are generally like 99% of the time not as good as the original, but what would you think about this film getting the remake treatment? Like, what if they did make it a little, put a little more excitement into it or whatever? Like, would you
Well,
be open to that?
I'm not anti remakes of any film.
Hmm.
I would be interested.
Hmm. Yeah. Uh, and by all means, tell me, nah, this is way too much on the spot. But who do you reckon you'd cast in the, or is this something that we're going to have to think about? Or, I mean, obviously, we got to get Tarantino as the director, right? I mean, like, who does a heist film better than that guy?
Yeah, but a remake for his final film?
Well, no, he's okay. Now he's decided. You know what? I really like that film, but I want to make it better. So, I don't know. Like,
Well, I
yeah.
mean, you'd probably want to put Michael Madsen in there somewhere if you're
Ah,
Tarantino. Not like the
I
main one of
guess.
the main ones, but we
Yeah.
got to put him in there somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, like the main guy, because it has to be someone who like is super cool.
Oh, can you imagine if Vogel was played by Brad Dourif?
Well,
That would be cool, wouldn't it? And I'm not just saying that because you're such a fan of Brad Dourif, but like he would be, because he, I think Vogel kind of just had that look about it, that sort of edginess to him. So that would be, I reckon that would be a pretty cool casting choice.
Yeah, I don't. He's retired.
Yeah, well, we'll bring it. If Tarantino's doing one more film, Dourif is like, you know what? Damn straight, I'm doing another movie. Like, um, yeah, that's one suggestion. I don't know. Who do you reckon? Who would you get to play Corey? Who was,
Which
of
one
course,
was
the
Corey?
the main guy,
The
played
main
by
guy.
Alain
Uh,
Delon.
well, yeah, that's who I think.
Mm. And you're more than welcome to say Michael Shannon.
No, he would be the quirky commissioner
Yes.
hunting down the
Mm-hmm.
escaped
Mm-hmm.
Vogel. I maybe
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to like this is just me picking my favorites
Yeah,
again,
yeah, yeah.
but I do think that maybe we could put in Carl Gellner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Actually, maybe no, he would be Vogel, I think.
Okay. And Richard Harmon
Um,
can play Corey. How about that?
no, um, no, because Vogel's like super cool, whereas and
Mm.
not Vogel, the other guy is super cool, whereas Vogel's the more offbeat
Yeah.
guy. So I think you'd have to have Richard Harmon and Carl Gellner battling out for that role.
Right, right.
Corey needs was it Corey you said? He
Yeah,
needs to
yeah.
be someone a bit more
Mm.
uh I don't know. See, I like the weirdos. So now I'm just trying to think who's just the
Yeah,
general super cool,
yeah.
that kind of
I'm
style.
I do apologize for putting you on the spot like that because I know you're not really good at coming up
No,
with
my
stuff
mind goes blank,
instantly.
and then I'm just like, what who are even actors?
And yeah, and I just know I'm going to get a message from you at like 8 o'clock tonight. And be like, "Oh my God, what about this? But I should have picked this person." And yeah, yeah. But anyway, it's fine. All right. Well, anyway, so there you go. That is Le Cercle Rouge. Um, was that pretty much we covered that one? Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Well, now we're getting into the final movie for our homework, which was one that I had on my list of. Hello, Harper. Sorry, my daughter has just entered the room to join us. Um, yeah, this was a movie. Yeah, I had it on my list of movies that I thought you needed to see. And so this was a movie from 2008 called Gran Torino, which was directed by and stars Clint Eastwood as disgruntled Korean War veteran Walt Kowalski sets out to reform his neighbor Tao Law, a Hmong teenager who tried to steal Kowalski's prized possession in 1972 Gran Torino. That is a very vague description. There's a lot more to it than that. Where, yes, Harper, would you like to tell everybody about what Gran Torino is? No? Okay. Um, yeah, there's more to it where Tao is trying to be initiated into this gang, who's led by a cousin of his. And so he's kind of torn between like what he needs to do and stuff. And yeah, Kowalski sort of starts off as he's not like totally racist, but he's pretty racist. I mean, the way that he refers to Asian people with a whole bunch of derogatory terms and stuff. But
yeah,
it's interesting because, like, of course, he's gone through, like, he in the Korean War, like, it would have, built that, resentment within him. But yeah, I thought this movie it did a really good job for me anyway of addressing, social issues and having all the themes and stuff like that, but it never got too emotional or anything like that for me, where, I mean, a lot of movies could have gone that direction, but it didn't for me. But what did you think of it? Well, I'd love to hear what you thought.
yeah. It was interesting. I kind of knew generally about this from just it being a big deal,
Hmm.
but I didn't actually look into exactly what it was about. I just started watching it,
Hmm.
and yeah, it was interesting. Clint Eastwood's funny. The way the
Darling
character
girl.
reacts.
What, you didn't like the movie? Sorry, keep going.
And he was very lurch at times from the Addams
Hmm.
family with his sort of grunting sighs. I,
Hmm.
I, I don't know, but he just kept doing it, and it was kind of fun. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. I that was actually one of the things that watching because I hadn't seen it in a really long time. I mean, I bought it on Blu-ray after seeing it at the movies and stuff, so I thought I must have really loved this movie, but I I kind of thought like at the start, yeah, he was almost too much of a caricature, you know, like
Mm.
he was just your typical get off my lawn, gruff American kind of a guy. I sort of also felt there was some really clunky editing choices in this film, like just when it sort of transitioned from one scene to another, you know, there was like at times you were in one place at one time of day or whatever, and then all of a sudden you're like in another scene in another, you know, the next day or whatever, but you don't really know it's the next day. Like maybe you didn't pick up on this. Maybe it's sort of like, you know, the filmmaker and me, you know, getting a bit too picky. But I sort of thought at times there could have been like just a little thing in between just to kind of give you an indication of, you know, that we've moved on from a scene. But yeah, and I also felt some of the dialogue at the start was just really blatantly exposition heavy. You know, it wasn't, it was just there to kind of, you know, say to the audience, this is what's happening and this is who this person is. You know, it didn't kind of feel natural. But overall, though, like yeah, I mean, I still gave it 4 stars. I still really enjoyed it. And yeah, still felt that it was kind of an important film. And, you know, especially in terms of racism and everything, which is like a really big thing now and stuff. Yeah, it did have a you know a good message behind it and stuff. Like yeah, but but I know you don't sort of rely too heavily on themes and messages and everything. So but
Well, it
you
was interesting that he didn't like fully like do a super change in his personality like
mm,
some movies can do. Like he was
yeah.
still using racist terms and everything, even to people's faces, like even as he's getting to know them and stuff. So, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I did kind of think that, like, I mean, so yeah, it's been a while since I've seen this film, but you know, as I've kind of, you know, grown older and everything, like there are times in my life where I really relate to not so much his character, but just his facial expressions and stuff. There are just, you know, you go through life and there are just times where you're just so fed up with people's shit that you just kind of Clint Eastwood, you know, is your sort of spirit animal. You are that kind of like yeah, so it was funny watching this. I was kind of like, yeah, you know, get off my lawn. Absolutely. You know, to the world in general. Sometimes you just want the whole world to get off your lawn. Um, yeah, but there are definitely things we're going to talk about in the spoiler section for this film. There's no doubt about that. Because yeah, I loved the ending. I really did. But yeah, we'll get into that. But no, it wasn't just the racism stuff as well. I you know loved his whole outlook on religion and his relationship with the pastor and stuff. Like there were yeah, like you said, there were a lot of funny you know, exchanges of dialogue and stuff. It's just like, wow, he just doesn't hold back, does he? Yeah, when sometimes he probably should, but he doesn't. Anyway, what would you give this one out of 5?
Maybe 3.5.
Yeah. Yeah, I would completely agree with that. So yeah, but you definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I think it's good to watch. Do you know
Yeah.
what's funny is Richard Harmon watched it as well. So,
Ah, yes, of course, your
um,
friend Richard Harmon.
so it was pretty funny to just discover that. He did
Mm.
a double feature that he called A Grand Old Time and watched Gran Turismo as well.
Right. Oh, right. Actually, yeah, it is kind of funny, like because those two titles are so freaking similar. The movies are not definitely similar,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I had to laugh when you sent me that screenshot that Richard Harmon had watched it. He gave this what 4.5 though on
Yeah.
Letterboxd, didn't he? Like, yeah. So yes, of course, we've got to get into the habit of calling him your friend Richard Harmon because I'm sure he knows who you are.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, that is that. Yes, three movies that we definitely recommend. Go watch them. But we have got we've got our feature film lined up for next time, and this is one that I have chosen. And this is one that if my friend Jen happens to be listening to this podcast, you are going to be really happy to know that we are finally going to be discussing Battle Royale. Well, that I will be finally discussing it, but of course we will. So yeah, Jen was a massive fan of my YouTube channel, Movie Talk with Dan Jensen, and she had been asking me for years if I could do a review of Battle Royale, and I just never got around to doing this thing, which I wanted to because I love this film so freaking much, and I really wanted to watch it again and stuff, and I just never got around to it. And then so I kind of thought, well, hey, we've got this platform now where we get to discuss movies and stuff. And so, yes, I did ask Frankie if it would be okay to do this one, and got the go ahead from the boss. So, yes, we will be discussing Battle Royale next time around. So, I freaking cannot wait because, yeah, my God, I love that movie. But you've got three movies lined up for me to choose one, I do believe.
Yes.
Mm,
And I struggled for
yeah,
reviews because
yeah,
I
which is
hate it.
fine.
So I didn't do it. So I'm just going to be really brief and
hmm
just say, um, okay, um, if you liked Oddity, you might like film number one.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
If you liked Kevin Bacon's hair, you might like film number two.
Right.
And if you like horror movies, you might
Oh,
like
come
film
on,
number three.
that's too
I
vague,
well,
surely.
okay, it's a exorcism related movie, but
Okay.
not.
All right. I out of the three things, like, yes, I do like horror movies. But out of the three things, I probably like Oddity the most. I would favor that over Kevin Bacon's hair, so I'm gonna go with that one.
Okay, I'll be watching The Vigil,
The
which is
Vigil.
another
Okay.
horror movie that got me. Not
Mm-hmm.
different from Oddity,
Mm-hmm.
but it's about this Jewish custom that someone sits with the body of the deceased. Um,
Oh, I remember we talked about this. Yeah, or
yeah,
you talked about it, and yeah.
and so it's following this guy who he's sort of struggling with his faith, but he gets asked to sit with this old
Mm-hmm.
man who's passed, and creepy things happen in the house.
Nice. Okay, cool. Now, is this a subtitled movie? I've just got to find out straight away.
No, well, no,
Excellent.
yes, it is.
Oh, fuck. I mean, oh,
um,
cool.
because there's
Is it streaming somewhere?
I think it is. I think it's
Yeah.
on Amazon.
Okay. Look, I mean, God, if I have to pay for this thing, I will happily do that. Like, whatever is going to
Oh yeah,
prevent the
it's on Prime.
torture of. Okay.
It's partially
Okay. Oh, it's
subtitled.
just it's I don't have to pay for it or anything. So yeah.
No,
Cool. Oh, you gave this one 4.5 stars, you did.
yeah,
So
because
yeah.
when it's a big deal when movies like fully creep me out.
Yeah. All right. No, cool. I think I chose wisely. All right. I have three reviews. Um, I don't even know which one this is for because I just screenshotted the reviews without the title. So I'll figure it out. Okay. Rewatched this with my in-laws and it remains a triumph. I regularly use some of the major quotes in my daily life, but there are so many absolute gems, it's hard to even make a short list. P.S. This is one of those movies people say you couldn't make nowadays, and I don't fully agree. Sure, it uses some language considered offensive now, but it never does so in a way that endorses the derogatory use of them. All of the characters who say the R slur and the F slur are depicted as uneducated rubes. I believe that intent matters, and this movie is fine by me. Wow, that's a long one. The next one. Oh, this actually involves quotes from a quote from or quotes from the film. So, um, you can take our phones and you can take our keys, but you cannot take away our dreams. Yeah, because we're like sleeping when we have them. This is cinema. So there's that one. And then finally, this movie is so funny and goofy and silly and so 2000, oh sorry, hashtag 2004. I love it so much. The editing and soundtrack is so cute, and I love all the little characters in this movie. Mi scusi. So yeah, those are your three reviews, and I'm sure I can remember what movie pertains to which one. So any of
Oh,
those grab you?
I'm gonna go with the last one.
So this movie is so funny, goofy, silly. So 2004.
Yeah, the one you read last.
Well, yeah. Hey, yeah. You are going to be watching Euro Trip.
Ah,
Uh,
I've been meaning to watch that for ages.
Brilliant. Yep, yep, yep. Yeah, I definitely no, I think you're gonna absolutely love this film. I've seen it so many times, but yeah, I will always happily watch that one
Oh,
again.
Vinnie
So
Jones again. Oh, Yusuf
yes. Oh,
Vader.
he's so funny in this film. My
Matt
God.
Damon.
Yep, I'm not going to say a word. Yeah, Matt Damon is in this film.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, cool. Wow, that is quite a mix. Actually, that's like three really cool films. We got Battle Royale, so that's kind of like action drama, The Vigil, which is horror, and then Euro Trip, which is comedy. So yeah, that's it's going to be a good time.
Something for everyone.
There is something for everyone. All right, so now that we're back to our regular format, we are going to be jumping into the sealed section where we discuss spoilers
Oh yeah, I
for.
forgot about that. I was like,
Hello.
okay, we're done.
No, we're not done. We got to talk spoiler. Oh, this doesn't usually take very long.
Yeah.
So yes, this is where if anyone doesn't want to hear spoilers about Tremors or Gran Torino or Gran Turismo or Richard Harmon or Le Cercle Rouge, this is where we're going to love you and leave you. So yes, thank you very much for sticking around and having a listen and having a laugh, hopefully. Clearly not at my jokes because I'm just not funny. Yes, and we will probably see you in like a week or so when we do the Deaf Academy Awards, and then we'll have another episode after that. There's just so much Dan and Frankie. You're gonna get sick of us in no time. I'm already sick of us. So yes, we are gonna say goodbye. Thank you very much. Stay safe, watch lots of movies. To everybody else who wants to talk spoilers, let's go. All right. Spoilers for Tremors.
Tremors doesn't really have spoilers.
No, I mean, I did, I do like the sort of, inventive way that they kill off the final creatures. Like,
Yeah, well, I was just gonna
um,
say I did like that it wrapped around to the opening scene or
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
connected to it. But
Exactly, yeah. I kind of, I don't know, like I'm one of these weird people though that I kind of feel a little sympathy for the monsters because, they're just trying to do their thing. They're hungry. They need to be fed. Like, yeah. So, watching that one sailing down the cliff and then, splatting and like, oh, poor little thing. But anyway, yeah, no, the whole overall ending, yeah, where they're all kind of like stuck on the. I did love how, that actually that's something that I should have mentioned before. I did love the way that the graboids, were intelligent and actually,
mm,
like kept up with the people's plans to kill them and like we're a step ahead. And so I love how like they throw that bomb, but then it's just like thunk and gets like spat back at
Yeah.
them and everyone's got to run. Like, yeah, that was actually really, really cool. So I dug that. But yeah, no, yeah, the ending was satisfactory. I liked that Kevin Bacon's hair got the girl and all that, and yeah, it was a satisfying ending. Um, the Red Circle. I didn't like that the guys got killed. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's always sad when that happens.
Yeah, like we've been on this whole journey with them and stuff, and like you said, they were such cool people, or cool cats as you described them in your letterbox review. I love that.
That's how cool it was that
Exactly, they were cats. So yeah, I don't know, like watching them getting gunned down at the end, it was kind of like, ah, really? Like you could have let one of them live, maybe. Like, so I think if Tarantino ever does a remake of this film, or anybody, like just let one of them live, just let one of them go. Well, okay, here's a question: if one of them had to live, which one would you pick, Corey or Vogel? Forget about the
well,
other guy, the sharpshooter guy. Like he can fuck off.
oh yeah.
But yeah, which one
Um,
would you want to live?
well, I have to pick Vogel because it's John
Hmm.
Maria Volante, so
Yeah, yeah.
he's my guy. I want him
Hmm.
to live.
Fair enough. I'm gonna go with Corey. I don't know. He just like there's something about his personality that I
Yeah,
kind of thought
because he
like,
was cool.
yeah, exactly. He was a cat.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. All right. We're getting through these spoilers. So yeah, Gran Torino. So what were your thoughts on the ending where he actually sacrifices his life in order to save Tao
Well,
and
it was interesting because I didn't know what he was going to do
hmm
until it happened. And then I was like a bit sad. And then I was like, why? I mean, I get why because he was dying.
mm,
So he thought he'd do this nice thing for them. But it just, I don't know, it was a bit weird.
yeah.
And then I'm like, would that really get all of them jailed and free the family from anything happening?
Mm,
So
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. But
Yeah, no, I like the way that something is going down because he's gone to get a funeral suit, custom like tailor-made for him, and he's doing all these last minute things like
I
um
didn't realize that was a funeral suit.
right, right, right. And yeah, and but again, like going to like poor animals thing, I felt so sorry for his poor doggy.
Yeah, and they focused on the dog
I
being sad.
know, because it's like, this dog's been with him for so long and everything, and like,
And
he
his
knows
wife
he's,
only died recently, so the
yeah,
dog's lost both its owners pretty close together.
exactly. And now the dog's like stuck with an Asian family who are clearly going to eat it. But too soon. No, hey, that joke was going through the
Yeah.
movie, so I can say that. That's fine. And I do love Sue's reaction every time. It's like, no, I told you we only eat cats. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, no, yeah, I do love the ending. Like I thought it was good, but I really loved when they're at the will reading at the end, and it finally gets to who he's left his car to, and
Terrible
like
family.
the daughter who now she was the one who was in that movie Compliance that I
Yeah, I
was talking
saw that
about.
when I looked up compliance and
Right,
I was
right.
like, who's that? And then I was like, oh, okay, I know exactly who you're talking about
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Dreamer Walker, I believe her name was. So yeah, I love how her face is lighting up like, oh, I'm getting the car, but of course he leaves it to Tao. Like, yeah. I just thought, oh, that was so cool. I really want to do
Mm.
something like that when I die as well. Just to fuck with people. It's like I leave everything to my cat. Yeah. So no, I thought, yeah, it was a satisfying ending, like,
Mm.
yeah. It
I mean, it
went
was good
on
because
its
it wasn't
course.
like super soppy
Yeah, like
sort
that's the
of,
thing.
guy who's really racist and intolerant learns the error of his ways and
Hmm.
becomes like, he's super good now and
Yeah, but
really
that's
remorseful of everything and all of that. Like,
hmm.
this was a more interesting way to show his, like, how he changed over that time.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what I was saying before. Like it wasn't overly emotional. Like, I mean, that's the kind of ending that in a lot of other movies, I might have got misty-eyed or something like that, and I actually couldn't remember. I was like, when I was getting towards the ending, because I knew what was going to happen, but I was sort of like, oh, is this a tearjerker or something? But then it gets it, and I was like, oh yeah, no, it's not. Like, I didn't think it
I
was that
I
overly
I I
emotional.
got there a little bit.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good.
Well,
Yeah.
just because, I was just a bit sad that he died,
Maybe I
even
might
though he
have,
was dying.
maybe
So he would
I'm
have got there anyway pretty
Yeah.
soon.
Maybe I might have been that way the first time I ever saw it. But
I think it's
because if you
just
know what's going to
because,
happen, maybe it
the
dampens
fact
it.
that he just went there and stood there and had like multiple people shoot him, like it's
Oh, it was
a pretty
hardcore, wasn't
full-on
it?
death.
Yeah, it really
So it's
was.
probably I like, yeah, like you said, maybe it wouldn't do that next time
Mm,
because I know what's going to happen. But at the same
yeah.
time, it's pretty easy to make me cry in movies, so
Mm,
it might happen again.
yeah, who knows? All right. Well, that's our spoilers out of the way. We've been talking movies all day long. It is time to go and do things.
Which I
So
was probably going to go watch a movie now.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to go and spend time with my children if I can even remember what they look like. I don't know. It's been that long since I've seen them. But anyway, no. So yes, to everyone who has stuck around even this far, thank you very much. And as I said before, Daft Academy, next episode, it's all going to happen. Battle Royale, Vigil, Euro Trip. We've got it all. It is all happening in Deaf Land. No. See, this is the point of the podcast now where like I just start saying the most randomest shit that I've lost all faculty of my
Yeah,
mental powers. So
it's been
yeah,
a long morning.
it has been. Yes. So to everyone who's actually here now, like, what are you doing? Seriously, why are you here now? Like, you shouldn't be. You should be going doing
Well,
something
yeah, I hope
productive.
everyone's written down a bunch of movies from today to watch.
Yes.
It's been worthwhile.
Absolutely. All right, we're getting silly. We're out of here. Stay safe. Watch lots of movies. Bye for now.